Well, that was interesting. So obviously I had to delete that last hangout. Obviously we have some trolls come in that were actually they were trolls that obviously I immediately had to stop the broadcast and delete that hangout. So anyways, I know, at least it's a good thing. I don't mind when things kind of happen because at least it reminds me that we do have people like that out there listening. And so I got to be more vigilant. I kind of let my guard down and this reminds me that I shouldn't. So every so often these things do give us a reminder that no matter how vigilant you think you are, you could always be more. Because I'm not actually running it through the moderator account. I'm actually doing it through my own. So I'm just going to restart this from scratch, and it's okay. Not a big deal. I did invite Skyler again, but I don't know if he's going to. Oh, there he is.
All right, I was just trying to get over what I just saw. Oh my God. Fucking trolls. Man.
Yeah, well, like I said, some of these people, they have no lives whatsoever. And it's so funny because, obviously those people were, for whatever reason, listening to my channel when I put the live feed out there, right? When I put the invite to get in. So they just took immediately to that. So they are trolls listening. No question about it. But anyways, there are people that do want to get in who are legit, who I'll invite in manually. Shar, I'll invite you. Tony, you're going to have to send me a link. I can't get you in for some reason. I don't know why, but your name doesn't come up until I have to send you one externally.
So, like, it was getting pretty desperate in True Prism's room because now they're like, listen, Skyler, we'll make sure that, like, it's only me and you talking.
Tell them to fuck off.
It's like, he's like, and he says, yeah, I won't jump in, I won't talk. Like, almost pleading at this point to try to get me into the room.
Skyler, please, I love you. Please come to my room. I love you. I love you.
I just want to talk. I want to talk about models.
Yeah, I mean, I have to bribe him to come into my room, but I understand that. I offer him a little bit of ball cupping and whatever. But no, see, I'm not like Carlos, man. I don't do this taint licking ball washing stuff, right?
Dude, yeah. I mean, that just shows you how weak the arguments are. I mean, you know what? I don't know why. I mean, we shouldn't give True Prism any credit, anyways. To be honest with you, I mean, the guy lies all the time. He obviously doesn't know what he's talking about in most of these subjects. I think it's funny that he's somehow in denial that he actually gave a model for the model for intelligent design. Like, the video's there. Like, you can just watch the video and see that at no point was there ever a model given.
No, because he didn't have one. He even said, well, I had a presentation, but I'm not going to give it because Steve went in a direction and that I didn't want him to go in or didn't know he would go in. He didn't have anything.
No, of course not.
But anyway, so to the point of the actual hangout, because this is a new hangout, so if people didn't watch the last one, real quickly, let me just give a brief summation. Skyler and Ronnie were talking in a Google Plus thing, and Skyler said, "Fine, if you want to have a conversation on this, you want to debate me or talk about it, whatever, I'll start a room and you can come on in." And immediately Ronnie was like, "Oh, let me go run to my safe space so I can start a room. And then when Skyler doesn't show, I can call him a coward." And I told Skyler that's exactly what he's going to do. And guess what? That's exactly what he did. So, I mean, we're just kind of talking about that because it was so funny because he literally within 2 minutes did exactly what we said he was going to do. So,
and he brought that up in the hangout. He's like, he actually lied in the hangout. He's like, there's no point for me to go in his hangout because I already had one started. It was already going.
Right, and that's exactly what I said. Exactly.
It's like, I told you not to do that, and you did it anyways. You just made a hangout. So
somebody said, "Hope I didn't delete it. I just privated it." No, I deleted it. Anytime I get there's something that like a porn bomb, I'm going to delete right off the bat. I'm not going to take the chance because now there's no record of it or anything.
Well, and just to let the audience know, if you guys have probably seen on my Google Plus, but basically, what started this initially is that I believe that I found True Prison's another YouTube channel of his. Because this particular guy, what was the guy? Apologetic Investigator, I think is his name. You go to my Google Plus, you can check it out. But anyways, basically made a video defending true empiricism. And this isn't the first time I've seen this guy continuously defending true empiricism. I've never seen him defending anybody else, just true. And with Wolf King and a couple other people, we kind of figured out this. We think it's Ronnie, right? So I basically call him out on it on the video. I was like, hey, Ronnie, why are you too afraid to put this video on your own channel? And he starts playing dumb. Oh, I'm not this. I'm not Ronnie. I love true empiricism. And we go back and forth. And I actually caught, I have image of the dialogue. I posted that on my channel. And then immediately True Empiricism starts messaging me on that. Like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not me. And then comments are disabled on that other video. So
and literally, like, Ronnie just 2 minutes later was like, okay, hey, I'll challenge you, Skyler Fiction, because you are screaming from underneath your bed, even though I don't know what that means.
Over and over again, he keeps saying that.
3 or 4 times, I think he said it.
At least.
Yeah. It's like, here's the deal, Ronnie. I don't know why this is so fucking conceptually difficult for you. I have a channel that I'm fine with you coming over. I've been to your channel numerous times. You've never been to mine once. Skyler has no problem with you coming over there. I said he's not going to go into your room. I said I'm not going to go into your room. Never going to happen. You've demonstrated you're inept at having mod control, that you're inept at having a conversation in your own room because you have to hide behind the mod control and the curtails of your little ball washers. So no. And so all Skyler said is, okay, fine, come on, let's do it. And you chickened out. You ran away like exactly the little bitch made I said you were going to be. Exactly. He did exactly what I said he was going to be. And I mean, Ronnie, we know your game. We've been around you a long time. We understand your playbook. You have nothing new in it. You're so fucking predictable.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and I don't know if we said it on this video, so I'm going to say it again, is that these are the supposed Christians. Like, these are the guys who are supposed to be emulating Christ and following Jesus. And this is the kind of shit they do. They just lie, and they start a hangout to talk shit about me, basically. Right?
Because that's obviously what Christ would do, right?
Yeah, this is what he name call, and he would do all this, But I guess that's why they look up to people like Darwin Ziti, and things like that. Like, they envy people that can just try to make their opponent look bad instead of actually having an argument, an actual philosophical or theological argument. And this is the main reason I won't go into his room. Well, first, because I'm not going to let him fucking try to bait me into anything. I offered to have a room. He passed it up. Secondly, he's out of control with mods. One time, I've had a long conversation with him, a one-on-one conversation on his channel, and he muted me at least 30 times. There was one point where he wouldn't even let me respond because he misheard what I said, and I was trying to clarify, like, really quickly, just to say 1 or 2 words, and he muted me every time I started to talk because of something he misheard. He thought he had a gotcha moment with me.
He does do that. He will mute you and then say, and basically be like, oh, look, they're not responding. He plays these little games. When you're in there, he plays these games. We all know this, and this is why nobody goes in there anymore. The only people that still will are Hogtie and MP, and even they're kind of fed up with it. So I've recommended everybody don't go into his freaking room. You really, I do think a little bit less of people that go into his room now. And I'm sorry, I love you, Hogtie, but I got to think a little less even of Hogtie because we know what he does. There's no value from going into his room at this point. He is a demonstrable liar. He's demonstrably dishonest. He runs every time we offer to have him in a hangout or to discuss things with him. I even said, I'll go to Skyler's hangout. I trust him.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually offered with people at True Empiricism to have another Christian moderate. I was like, we'll get another Christian. We can have them moderate. Someone that's reasonable, that's not going to sit there and be part of the clown car posse, who just is like, will mute just like he would. But they won't. They ain't going to do that.
Well, it's not. I mean, who wants to debate him? First of all, I think you're stupid if you debate him. You can have a conversation with him, but don't have a formal debate because you saw what happened last time. He's incapable of having a debate.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should debate that guy. You're just spinning your wheels. I think it's silly. And until he mans up and until he will go into other people's channels, why should we play his game? I mean, especially when you have Trust and Julius Carlos going, well, these guys won't go into your room, Ronnie. These guys won't go into your room. Well, we all have. He won't go into our room, Carlos. So why don't you grow up some fucking balls and come into our rooms? They won't. They just won't. So whatever.
Let's see if they're still going on over here. This other channel trying to call me out.
You know what? No, I think it's dead over there. I think the feed just kind of. Oh wait, C Brown is now in there, but I don't hear anything. It's just me.
This is something we have to. Someone's got to explain to me, right?
Hmm.
And what I need someone to explain to me is how a grown man can have such shitty internet at his age. Like, where the fuck does he live? that he doesn't have a good internet quality.
I don't know what he's doing, but I mean, can you guys hear in the live feed? Or, I mean, in the actual hangout over there, I don't hear anything.
It keeps going in and out. It's constant.
Because C. Brown being another ball washer is like, oh look, your experts say DNA degraded in water. Yeah, over a long period of time. We're talking about relative time frames. And he's like, well, Ronnie never said it did as soon as it goes in the water. Yes, he did. I have pages and pages of documents of transcripts from videos where Ronnie said exactly that you put it in the water, it falls apart. When he and Hogtie had their hangout, Hogtie, Puricism and Hogtie Solvate the World, he made it very clear that's what happens. You drop it in water, the nucleotides fall apart, blah, 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 or it breaks into nucleotides. And then, you got C. Brown going, oh, look at your own expert said this. No, my expert, right? My scientist said Ronnie's an idiot and repeated that ad nauseum that he was taken out of context. And you guys do the same thing to all these scientists. They did it to Mary Schweitzer. They've done it to Fuzz Rana. They all take people out of context and then they think they've won something. But like you said, these are supposed to be the Christians. So they don't care.
They don't care. I mean, it's like there's no integrity. There's no nothing with that whole. And I mean, I'm not obviously talking about all Christians, but true empiricism, G-Man. I wanted to give Antonio the benefit of the doubt, but I think he's just really naive, to be honest with you, more than anything.
He is.
He's just you know what it is too. I got to remember some of these, like even the guy who hilarious I talked. He's 18 years old. I got to remember these are young kids sometimes, and that some of them, True Empiricism's fucking. I don't know how old the fuck he is. He looks like he's damn near 50. But I don't. But these other guys are young kids, and they're naive, and they live. What's sad, it's funny. Sad and funny actually, is I used to actually get people messaging me on my channel thanking me for like exposing like G-Man. I don't know how people didn't see it from the beginning with G-Man, but like literally people were like, I used to really follow him and I respected him, and and I started watching your videos and I kind of saw how he really is, and I'm like, it blows my mind. Like these guys, as crazy as they seem, like I want to believe that it's mostly just atheists, and it is probably a majority of atheists who watch these videos for the lulz, but like, there are a lot of people who look up to these guys in a strange way.
No, not really. They really don't.
I think
I can name 10 people in the Clown Car Posse, give or take, that the rest all think they're idiots. I mean, look at his likes. He has 1 like on his video, 27 dislikes.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, come on. This is the video that he has right now. 27 people dislike it. Nobody likes his shit. I mean, I thought the video that I did was pretty good. I made 1 minor mistake. Nobody caught it yet. That's okay. Whatever. Shit happens, right? But I thought the video that I put out exposing his dishonesty with this whole Lance thing was pretty succinct. But when he puts out a video, all he does is make himself look worse. That's why I've explained to people, look at it. When there's gaffes like this or something like that, and Ronnie puts out a video, does thing, it's okay. We can use it to our advantage, because literally I will turn that shit around and shove it right back up his ass every time.
That's true. Dude, I gotta go to bed. I'm sorry, man. It's like nearly 12 here, and I gotta be up at like
no
6:30
problem.
I'm
gonna show the screen share of the actual post that we were going over.
Oh, please, do.
And like I said, if you want to do something with this tomorrow, because again, I said in the other video, but I had to delete it. I think I've earned $1 million from the James Randi Foundation for demonstrating psychic ability.
Yeah.
If you can make a video of that testifying.
I think I will. Let's see if
I'll split the million with you. I'll split the $1 million with you.
If there's anybody out there that can capture that video, because I'm afraid he's going to delete it while I'm asleep, please capture the video and send it to me. If not,
I don't know how to capture it while it's live. I can only do it after.
Some people have it. Yeah, it depends on how quick he deletes it. Sometimes if he keeps it up for an hour or two. I just use Firefox, and there's like a little link on the top. I can like a little add-on that I can do to download the video.
Yeah, I use CC Downloader, and I also use I just type in PWN between the www and the YouTube, and it takes you to this nice little page where you can choose how you want to download it.
What? Wait. So how do you do that? Say it again. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, to hack. What you do is you get the link. And it says www.youtube.
Yeah.
You instead of having www.youtube, it's www.pwn and then YouTube and the rest.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And it'll take you this nice little page, and there's different formats you can download it on. The one I use is Prego. It's real simple. Boom, you click it and you're done. Now, CC Downloader is nice too, because you can actually change. If you, like, for example, if you don't want the high quality, because like it's a Hangout, you don't need it in high res. 720 is too much for these things. 480 is fine. But some people like to have higher quality, even though I don't think it makes a bit of difference. Excuse me.
I think it's it depends.
Yeah,
But
you can
all right,
lower
dude.
it and you can cut it. You can snip it too, though. You can say, I want this part to this part rather than the whole
Oh, that's
thing.
nice.
So that's a nice
that's
feature, but it
better.
doesn't always work.
Mm.
For some reason, CC download just is very, very temperamental. But you can try CC downloader. But try the little hack that I showed you. If you want the whole video, it's great. It's easy.
Yeah, I'll try that out, man. All right, buddy, man. It's fun hanging with you. I'll see you later, man.
Thank you, my friend. I'll let some people in here in a second here. I'm doing it very, very spuriously. I'm not inviting a bunch of people in here. I wanted Tony to come in, but Tony seems to be having problems. Doctor, I'm going to get you in here. Shar invited you in here. But while people are messaging me if they want to come in, and again, I'm not allowing everybody, just a couple people. But I want to show you the G Plus page that we're referring to here. So let me screen share here. Okay. So anyways, this is the initial post that Skyler Fiction had. This is true empiricism, pretend to be a different person to defend his performance in his debate against Steve McRae. I don't know if this person is or is not true empiricism. I am not making that claim. However, there's a lot of correlations that I can make, but the guy's definitely as dumb, if not dumber in some ways than Ronnie, because Ronnie is too stupid to realize that he didn't have an argument. This guy is too stupid to even realize that Ronnie didn't have an argument. So I don't know who is dumber. I mean, you guys will decide on that. But anyways, scroll down here. Trimber says, you want to back that up, Skyler? The two of us can go one-on-one right now. Evolution versus intelligent design. I can have a hangout set up in 5 minutes, which, by the way, he failed miserably with me. What does he think he's going to do any better with Skyler, right? So I basically said Skyler's not going to waste his time going in there. And Skyler said, I'll bait you on this, on topics of Christianity on another channel, not yours. I won't come back to your channel after the way you keep muting me over and over again. And I even said, Skyler won't go into your room, nor will I. But you're more than welcome to join either one of our channels at any time. Oh, wait, you won't, because you're bitch made. So scroll down a little bit further real quick. I was like telling him, then go to Skyler's channel, you coward, or mine, big brave Sir Ronnie, too scared to go on a channel where he doesn't have mods. And he's like, oh, come on with that, big brave Skyler, backing down. Where did this confidence go? You do realize that what the video you're sharing is about, right? Didn't think so. And Skyler, again, come into my room. I have a set of 5 minutes. Put your money where their mouth is. And he's like, no, Steve won't come into my room because I have free range to dig into all your nonsense. You fear cross-examination. No, I stayed for the Q&A, you dumbass. I mean, how the fuck do you think you're going to convince anybody that I was fearful of cross-examination when I was looking forward to this Q&A in our debate, and you, Ronnie, ran away like a little bitch maid? So anyways, I said, what did that take 2 minutes before Sir Ronnie ran away? Because I just knew he would, right? I just knew he would. But then I make a psychic prediction here. I say, you can set up right now and watch him run to a safe space. His channel claiming you ran away from him. He is simply just that dishonest. So I got to fix that before Sam makes a note of it. You know, it's from, yes, it's a typo, not a spelling error. He's simply that dishonest. And what did he do? What did he do? Did I call this or what? For fuck's sake, Ronnie is just as predictable. He actually ran away from you to his safe space after you said you would engage him in your room. Oh my God, the dishonesty beyond the pale. This is exactly what I predicted he would do. And that's exactly what he did. So yes, I think I'm eligible for $1 million. I really do. I think I've won the James Randi Educational Foundation's challenge to demonstrate psychic ability. If you guys agree with me, then let me know. That I made a novel prediction. I basically predicted something. Step A, step B, step C. This is exactly what happened. So Ronnie's still over in his other hangout right now. I don't even know if it's working because I don't hear anything from there, but it could just be my side. Is he actually saying something? Because I keep reloading it, but I see him in there, but I don't see him saying anything. It's just blackness and his icon. Do you guys know? But in a nutshell, he really literally went over there and said, oh, look at Skyler, run from me. Wow. I mean, does he really think that people buy into his bullshit? He literally is only preaching to the choir there. The only people dumb enough to believe his shit is C. Brown, Trust in Jesus, Antonio, G-Man, Hilarious Zulu, those guys. nobody else is ever going to buy into his dishonesty. And by the way, I had a nice little video out today showing exactly how dishonest he was about Lance. If you haven't seen it yet, it's only 2 minutes long or less than. So go ahead and check it out. But does anybody want to come in, or I will take this off air? Let me check my feed real quick. Obviously, I can't put the link out in the live feed, guys. I learned my lesson on that, so I need to be more vigilant on that. Tony, can you get in? No, Sizer, I really don't want to deal with you right today. No offense. I want a nice, calm conversation with a few people. No offense, Sizer. I don't want to deal with Sty today. Does anybody else want to come in? I will give it about another minute or two. Yeah, I know. Tony wants to come in. I don't know why it's not working for you, Tony. I really don't. When I try to put your name in the add persons in the link, your name just doesn't exist. It's like you are non-existent. It's just not coming up for me. What happens when you click on it? What does it do? You know what? Let me try the internal one. Let me give you a different link to try. Try that link. There's two different links you can use. You can use the URL or you can use the internal link. The internal link is usually better. So I'm giving you the internal and see if that one works. Hey,
there it is.
Awesome, sweet.
All right.
Cool. By the way, Tony, I did get your Patreon. Obviously, thank you very much. That was very nice of you.
No, man, thank you for real.
And I'm glad that you actually enjoy and learn something from these little hangouts and stuff that we do.
Yeah, it gets and plus it gets me it's a good excuse for when my girl's messing with me and I want to get away. I'd be like, oh hey, the show's on, or oh I gotta bone up on some information for the next show or something.
What's your next? Oh, okay. You know,
yeah.
What's funny is, by the way, Red Eye, I'll get you in a second here. So now people are all over the place. Red Eye, where are you? Now I can't find Red Eye. Red Eye, send me a message. Pseudo, send me a message as well directly. I don't want to put the link out on any possible chance of it being publicized. So I will put it. I'm sending it to you directly, Pseudo, but you're going to have to get it from your instant messages, because sometimes people put private to a message and then it actually goes public. So I don't want to take the chance. So if you're going to ask me for the link, do it directly. So, and Red Eye, I don't know why you can't come in. Sizer, I don't care if I offend you. Sometimes I just don't feel like dealing with certain people. You're one of them. I love you to death, Sizer. Don't take it personally. It's just, this is not the time for me to engage with Sizer. I'm sorry. Hawks, I know it started a little earlier. You missed really the good parts because Skyler was in here, and Skyler was just verifying that I am a psychic and that I have earned $1 million from the James Randi Foundation. So
it works.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah, do it for you.
I just
from
have
now
to
on,
know
Pseudo, will
where
you do it that way for me,
is.
please? Instead of sending me a G+ message, will you do it instantly?
Oh, okay, I don't use the stupid green icon. I use the other one.
I don't want to take the chance. I just obviously got porn bombed and sniped. So I had to delete that other video, and that sucks. Yeah. But
see, I didn't know that True was talking to you and or was talking to Skyler before that, because I saw True's thing pop up. So I want to see what this is about. And they just went in talking shit. And then you come on right away. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And that's some slimy stuff. That's slimy.
And Ronnie just deleted that video. He just had.
Yeah, I was commenting on a video yesterday or something. Well, the last 3 videos I've been commenting on him, and he's erased them and then erased the videos. He's Skyler wins $1 million too, because he predicted that he would delete that video as soon as he got done with it. So he
but no, hold on. James Randi will find a problem with your form you filled out, because that was this that's a self-fulfilling prophecy right there.
Mine wasn't. Mine was a very novel prophecy. I said he would challenge Skyler to a debate discussion. Skyler would say, sure, let me set it up. He would say, no, let me go do it on my channel. That faster than
Skyler, so therefore when making your prediction, you could have had it pre-planned with him to go do these things.
Can't prove it. Give me the $1 million.
I'm sorry. I lost your paperwork somewhere.
No,
Hogtie was like, arrive. It didn't arrive. The email bounced.
Hogtie was a good porn. It was big black cock.
Yeah, all right.
So if you're into that, sure.
Yeah, that was my first sniping or whatever the heck that was. That was
that's porn bombing. Sniping is when someone kicks you out and no one knows how the hell it happened.
Yeah.
And Tony, I have to apologize. We were in True's sidebar. I typed hashtag bitchmade. Tony typed hashtag bitchmade, and his stuff got deleted, and I didn't.
Oh,
and I did it first.
Yo, no, yeah, I saw that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that too.
This always happens. I go in some place that's volatile, do some shit, someone copies me, and they get nailed.
That's all good. That's what.
But it's so funny that there was 2 people that had to be listening the entire time. As soon as they put that link to come in the live feed, they were boom in here trolling.
It's the people like that. They're out there everywhere. You can't prove that those are connected to anybody. But they
were obviously listening to my stuff.
Oh yeah, but they're out there everywhere.
Yeah,
it's a Friday night.
Anyways, I asked why was it so obvious that T would leave, because T literally walked into exactly what I said he was going to do about his dishonesty. I said, watch this. TE is going to start a room, say that you didn't show up, and then call you a coward for not showing up, even though you have him blocked. He has you blocked in the live feed, has you blocked from coming in. And that he by the way, Skyler said he never even got the link, but Skyler said he would not go in there anyways. But I said, watch, you say you're going to start a hangout. He'll start his first and then say, oh, look, I've started a hangout. Why don't we do this? Because, I've already started first, and pull this little bitch game that he does, that he's done this all so many fucking times. Every time somebody says, okay, we'll have a hangout, and then somebody's going to make a hangout, he'll go, oh, well, I'll just make it first in my room. We're going to a safe space. You're a fucking coward, Ronnie. You are a fucking coward. You are the king of fucking cowards.
I was thinking that he didn't even send a link, too. I was like, I bet he didn't even send a link.
Right. Well, Skyler didn't have one. Skyler didn't, and he wouldn't have joined anyways, but he's like, Steve, the worst part is he didn't even send me a link. I don't have a link. And then he has 80 people blocked.
Yeah, that was funny when he said that. And he said it out loud. I was like, wow.
80 people blocked people, and this is the guy that wants to have open and honest dialogue. Yeah. Are you fucking with me?
Mature conversation he wanted.
Now hold on though. He didn't state who those 80 people were, did he?
Well, I can name a lot of them. Let's see: Fiona, myself, CRISPR, Rational Mind, Isaiah Sloan, Hogtie Champ probably by now. Who else? There's a lot of people I could probably name off the top of my head. Let me just go through my list of people in my circles. So,
does he even have 80 people following him positively?
Well, not if they're blocked.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I'm new at this. I don't even. Yeah, so he can't even. If you're blocked, you can't even watch any of his feeds, or unless it goes back onto YouTube, then you can watch it.
He doesn't have his subscriptions posted, right? So we have no idea what his subscriber count is, so I don't care. But it's not much higher than anybody else's. It's really not, I'm sure. Jade, if you want to come in, you're gonna have to send me the link directly. You're gonna have to message me.
It's just crazy. They all have that whole circle. They're just so in this bubble. I think that they have it strategically made. They have to. They can't be that dumb, are they?
Oh, they're that dumb.
Yeah.
But it is strategic in a way. Look at Carlos, trust in Jesus, the ball washer over there, just going, Ronnie, look at them. These guys aren't man enough to come into your room. Well, bullshit, Carlos. We used to come into his room quite frequently till he went ape shit with fucking mods, and they'll sit there and mute you when you're trying to make a response, and then basically, oh, well, look at there. Well, you have nothing to say? I'm being muted. And every time you unmute, he just mutes you again. He plays these little fucking games with you, and then he ejects you, lowers your volume so people can't hear you.
And then he eats the mic like this because his gain is too high.
Yeah, he clips himself because his gain is way over the top. I've even said I have lost I've lost a little respect, not all respect, of course. I love these people, but even Hogtie, I love Hogtie, but I've lost a little respect for him when he goes in there. I have no choice but to, because I think nobody should go into his room, because you're just literally playing into a dishonest person's hands, and you're giving him exactly what he wants. And I'm sorry, somebody that dishonest, I will not give them jack shit. So I can't say, hey, Hogtie MP, don't go into his room. Who the fuck am I to do that? But I do think a little less of them by going in there, and I mean that with all respect, because I love Hogtie, but it doesn't do anything but give him the satisfaction of going, oh look, well Hogtie will come in there. Why won't you guys come in there? Well, because I think you're a dishonest piece of shit, Ronnie, and you're a coward. So
yeah, when True said that stuff about Aaron, that's when I was like, man, when he called him ignorant, and then Aaron hung up on him, and then he started talking mad shit after that. I was like, man, this guy he's low. That's low.
Yeah, he's low. I mean, is there a word? I mean, is there even a word in the English language to describe somebody who's this low and dishonest? I mean,
despicable. No, I don't think so.
Wayne, I sent you an invite.
Well, I got a whole bunch of new Yu-Gi-Ohs that are looking to be pretty nice, so that's fun.
Yeah, I don't know how Hogtie has gone. No, I don't know. Hogtie, didn't you go into his room the other day, or was that Antonio's? I don't know. You know what? What's the difference? Antonio's the same boat. Going in Antonio's room is no different. I mean, whenever these guys have mods, there really isn't much of a difference. I don't see a point going into True Prisons or Antonio's rooms anymore. Antonio's just as bad. Antonio doesn't know the conversations. He doesn't know shit from Sinola about what Ronnie's talking about, because nobody else does either. But then he tries to back him up like, oh, good job, Ronnie. You've done so good. Look at you. You destroy the evil atheist. I'm tired of ball washers.
And he turns off the comments too. I hate when they turn off the comments.
And yes, Jim, I am jerking myself at the moment. Is that okay? So. Yeah.
Oh, back to that the porn drop that just happened. Just imagine the person that did that. How many hours he had to go through to get the snippets of all those pictures. Wow.
They have way too much time on their hands. But it's okay though. I don't mind things happening, because it reminds me to be vigilant. So again, you basically have to look on the positive side of things. And this is exactly what I told somebody else the other day. Look at when shit happens, like the little thing that happened with Lance, you make the positive, you make something out of it, because we know that Ronnie will lie and do all this duplicitous shit. Use it to your advantage. So I made a little video out of it demonstrating how dishonest he was. Red's made a video demonstrating how dishonest he was. So we could use this stuff to our advantage. Yeah. So, and Hogtie, yeah, no, I'm not faulting Hogtie. I know why he does it, and Hogtie's a great guy. I love Hogtie. I can't imagine anybody going into Antonio's room anymore, or any of those guys, because I think it feeds into them, and I don't think it's worth giving them the satisfaction, because if they want to have a conversation, they need to venture out, and they need to go into rooms where they're not going to have mod controls. So Hogtie says, I occasionally into a Antonio's hangout, but if his current policy continues, I will not. And that's what I respect. I mean, I'm already there, right? His current policy is banning everybody. And somebody had mentioned after this debacle with this debate, did you guys see the ban hammer coming down from Antonio?
No.
Oh God, the ban hammer. He was banning people left and right after the debate from the live feed. You guys didn't see that?
No,
I don't think so.
I'm not sure where it was happening.
In Ronnie's in Antonio's live feeds after the debate, people that were talking about it, Antonio went nuts and was banning all of them from the live feed. He wanted a troll. He called it a whack-a-troll.
Oh, okay. I heard of that, but I never saw it.
Oh, it was like message deleted. Our Gordo said he banned me. Wayne, I think you're banned now. I know Skyler's banned. Skyler's like, do you see my thing pop up in the feed? I'm like, nope. He's like, the motherfucker has me banned, and then he's calling me out as a coward. The irony, right?
And then he was saying how I don't see how he could be banned. And then that's when he pops up to 80. I don't see how he could be banned.
Well, he gets confused. Ronnie doesn't understand there's the live feed. That's in the YouTube settings. That's in your creative studio. If you're banned on G+, then you can't get into the Hangout. They're two different things. Ronnie doesn't understand that, right? So you can be banned from the live feed and still be able to get a Hangout, and vice versa. They're two separate things. I'm banned on both.
Well, that's an honor, really.
Yeah, but I'm a coward, right? I won't engage him, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, Ronnie, do you really think people buy your bullshit anymore, Ronnie? We all said you're more than welcome to come into our hangout. I would be nice. I won't even insult you. I will be the pleasantest person in the world because I have very good questions I want to ask Ronnie that he's been avoiding for a very long time, and he knows if he goes into a room with me where he doesn't have mods, I'm going to ask him specific questions that he doesn't want to have to answer, and he damn well knows it. And speaking of Hogtie, by the way, you do know I love you, Hogtie, right? And it's really not homoerotic kind of way, right?
Yeah, which either way is good. No, it's mostly joining to curse my autocorrect problems. I'm using a product I absolutely love, Perfect Keyboard for Android. I really like it. I do wish I could give them a little bit of advice on when to select between the words in and go. So I said I go inside, and it typed inside, and like, what the fuck? And it also refuses to type the word cunt. It'll always put bunt or ant. So if anybody ever sees me post a message on Plus where I refer to somebody as being a total ant, A-U-N-T,
or a bunt.
We know what you mean then.
or a bunt, yeah, you just un-auto-correct it in your mind. You'll get what I'm getting at. It's a lot of people, when T9 first started with text messaging, it got to be pretty common to tell people, "Oh, that's totally book." Right now, like anybody who's into text messaging at the time knew if somebody ever had typed a message to you that's totally book, that meant that's totally cool. And then people would say it out loud to be funny, right? You say, that's totally book, man.
Totally.
I hate when I'd get like a whole paragraph out and I'm talking to someone and I don't pay attention. I press send. And then I look down and the whole paragraph is just messed up. I'm like, oh, geez, what did I just send this person?
That's a number for you.
Yeah, I'm a little weary of text, voice to text. I've seen what happens with C Brown, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that.
Well, the voice to text is an atrocity, but it's fun sometimes. But yeah. Actually, I haven't really had that many text messages go off the rails. There was one time, I was going to visit a friend in another city, and she tends to be a little more sort of politically correct about language choices, and you shouldn't call people retard, stuff like that. And I was driving not at normal highway speed because of the road conditions in the winter, and I said I'm going to be a little late.
So you were flooring it.
I was flooring it. Yeah. No, Alberta, not Saskatchewan. Well, either way. So I typed going to be late. The roads are pretty gay, and she was not happy. So I had to look at the message and go, what did I do wrong, right? And I look and take a look at your keyboard on your phone. G-A-Y and I-C-Y are on the same keys. And I literally meant to say the roads are pretty icy.
Yeah, see, you get in too much trouble. I've had girlfriends where I've texted things where I could see them reading it completely different than it's meant. Didn't fare well. So
yeah. Well, what I did one time, actually, I sent her a message. I was going on visit her, and I said, hey, and you're not going to believe what I want to put in your ass. And so she wrote back, like, excuse me? And I wrote, damn you, autocorrect.
But that wasn't autocorrect. You actually said that.
No, I actually did that because I just relished that thing for the last half hour of my drive. She's just thinking, like, what was he trying to type?
That was good. It's always good to mess with people, keep people on their toes.
Yeah. So no, I missed everything tonight. Took a little crash here with the headache. So, but I don't know how did Skyler Fiction get into this? Well, before you answer that, I did put up just a short little post. I haven't checked my replies to it yet. But I in my recommended videos, an old Skyler Fiction video came up, and again, I'm just, oh geez. Actually, it's him quoting a conversation, and in the conversation, one of the guys pointed out, "Oh, you better be careful, or Skyler Fiction's going to cut this up and make it sound like you said something stupid." And the thing is, it was a 23-minute long video. And this is what Skyler Fiction does. His little quote mine is he's going to take 23 minutes, contiguous conversation and put it up into a video clip with a couple of bumpers at the end. Yep. And then they go, oh, you took it out of context. Well, what context do you need? Like, do we need to start at the age of the dinosaurs?
He plays a significant amount of the video, and like you said, he just tags a beginning and an end on it, and that's a video.
Yeah, and I know like Beckel, for example, is somebody who really expresses this. If you mention Skyler Fiction, like if you ever say, hey, did you see Skyler Fiction got a new hat? Well, really? Was he wearing it when he cut up people's videos to make it sound like, And that's all that they ever say, especially Beckel.
Projection.
And yet...
That's what Ronnie does.
I know. Well, that's the weird thing about it. Was then if you go to Ronnie's video, and which I normally wouldn't do, but there was so much discussion about the comment deleting, and I heard that his name's on. What's his name? The guy
Lance
you were talking to, Lance. That Lance had put comments on there. So I listened to your thing this morning, and I went and I checked. Oh, no, his comments are still there.
Yeah, they deleted,
so that's fine.
They deleted Fiona's comments from that thread, though.
Yeah, Fiona's comments from 2 accounts. So one comment, her Fiona Robertson account, was already blocked, so they just won't show up. But the other one was an account that isn't blocked. So he looked at it and said, this is a clear, coherent explanation of what's gone wrong here. Delete. He read it to delete it, right? So it's not just the auto delete thing that he has a bullshit reason. As I think it was, who was it in your hangout yesterday pointed out? Do you notice that anybody with a biochemistry degree is just forbidden from posting? Absolutely. Yeah. But anyway, so when I'm looking through the comments, I see a comment from Veckel praising Ronnie for his big takedown of what Lance said and how it shows that everybody else is stupid. Veckel, the guy who takes no position on what DNA does in water or any other solvent, right? I don't know anything about the science, he'll tell you.
Right.
And then, but he knows Ronnie's right. He knows everybody else is lying. He knows Ronnie's video was honest. There's no misrepresentation. And at the same time, he knows what Skyler Fiction does is wrong. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's bizarro world. Yeah, well, see, Veckel and Trust in Jesus, both of them have to be ball washers. They don't know enough about it to know one way or another. And I think my video really demonstrated just how dishonest Ronnie really is, because Lance has made it very clear to him, you're a lying scumbag. I don't want anything to do with it. You are a liar, Ronnie. And this is from the scientist. I mean, if I misquote a scientist and the scientist is telling me, dude, you way took me out of context, fuck you kind of thing, I would be like, what the hell did I do here? I would try to give him every charitable interpretation and go, you know what? I misunderstood you. Maybe I'm sorry or something, But I show that how when it continue on saying, oh, look what the scientist said, when the scientist made it clear, had more of a clarification. And like I said, I don't mind when these gaffes happen. I don't tell these people what to answer before I ask them. I want them to be spontaneous. I'm not like a lawyer that I even mentioned in the video that, oh, you should always ask your client. You should know what a client's going to say before you ask the question, but this isn't a court of law. I want these things to be more spontaneous. So I don't mind what people say. I don't give them heads up on this. And that's clear, obviously. And if there are gaffes like this, when we can, qualify things more, it does more for our side when we watch Ronnie do the dishonest things that he does with it. Because anybody who sees this can see that he literally took things out of context and didn't wait for the clarification. And just chopped that part off like it didn't even happen.
Well, he lives in his own fantasy land. He thinks no matter what we do, he always has a prediction as to what we're going to do. And as long as he thinks that, he's going to make videos based on his own predictions and based on his own ideas on what we think we're going to do.
Yep. And it should be noticed, real quick, somebody just noted, look at all these scientists that disagree with him. And then he claims that they all do. Fiona's disagree with him from the beginning. Oh, but look at Fiona. She agrees with Ronnie, according to him. Oh, look at Fuzz Rana. He disagreed with him vehemently. Oh, look, Fuzz agrees with him. Oh, Hogtie agrees with me. They all, I mean, I don't think he's ever said that, but all you guys actually have been in science. He basically has said, oh, well, look, they're all agreeing with me now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Has he told that with you yet? I don't know.
No. No, he as far as he's concerned, I'm wrong about it, right? So I don't even know how. Well, he could. I don't even know how he could sensibly craft the impression that I've said that I think DNA does in fact just fall apart when it gets wet. I've been pretty clear about it so many times. I mean, he could just, if he wants to dishonest, you can make anybody say anything. We just have to wonder what the limits of his dishonesty is. But it's more valuable to him to make it sound like, oh, I'm just one of the people who's saying that he's wrong just because I wish that he's wrong.
That's a good point.
Yeah, well, let me make it slightly better, because here's the other thing that's weird is one of the comments, 1, 3, maybe 7 of the comments that were on his video there. Again, I just sort of was glancing to see if Lance's comments were still there, but I did notice that of the comments that survive, many of them are along the lines of, oh, well, when do these guys learn? Like, why do they still have to focus on this, and why can they never admit that they're wrong? And here, the better question is why do they have to I lost the question. My kid was making noise there. It was, why do they have to keep saying that Ronnie's wrong about this? Why do they harp on the whole DNA and water thing? And just the light bulb went on for me. I was like, well, wait a second. How do they not notice that? Like, let's take a look at any of the 12 things that we've said Ronnie's wrong about. One of them being that DNA falls apart when it gets wet. Another one being that he's wrong in his belief that any of the Down syndrome cases are caused by Robertsonian translocations, right? So I'm just saying, pick a set of 12 things we've said he's wrong about, but include in that set of 12 the DNA falls apart when it gets wet thing, and the other claim that I made that he's wrong about Down syndrome being caused by Robertsonian translocation. For a year and a half, I've been telling him he's wrong about the DNA and water thing. In 4 minutes, I told him he was correct and I was mistaken about the translocation Down syndrome. So when they ask the question, why do they harp on him, and keep saying that he's wrong about DNA and water? Here's a simple answer. Because he's wrong about DNA and water. Were he correct about it, the whole thing would have been dropped after about 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, of course. And that's the key thing. When somebody goes like, oh, I fucked up, it's over and done with. At that point, who cares? Somebody had this, I don't know who it was, said that I go myopically after his channel and I find small things to harp on. And I extremely disagree with that. I have made it clear I don't want to go after small things. If people think I'm going after small things, that's fine. But I want to go after the blatant lying. I want to go after the blatant mistakes that he makes and then doubles and triples downs on them. And worse, tells everybody else that they're wrong. That's what I want to go after.
Well, the spotlight's broader than that because we have the option at any time to just Nephilim free the guy. Like, when's the last time we had a conversation? Hey, Steve, did you see that thing that Nephilim free put up on his channel?
Who's
well,
Nephilim
guess
free?
What? No one else did. Right, like even other CCP types won't come into our hangouts or won't post messages about this awesome takedown that Nephilim Free did because they recognize him as being crazy. They think he's right, but he doesn't really have their respect anymore.
They themselves from him a bit, haven't they?
Yeah. So he's just bickered himself into irrelevance, right? He bickers with non-believers and believers of all stripes, including evangelicals, right? If you happen to believe that a person's time in hell is eternal, then he will just label you a heretic because his personal interpretation of the Bible says that that's not what happens. So you're a heretic for trying to argue with him about it. So anyway, so he's pushed himself into irrelevance. So that's okay. And the thing is, so we don't really have anything to say about it. He's a crazy person who shouts at the traffic lights. So we don't really discuss him. And the difference is, it's not so much that Ronnie's a crazy person who shouts at the traffic lights. It's the fact that Ronnie's a crazy person who shouts at the traffic lights. And there are a dozen guys around him who look and say, yeah, that guy makes a point.
That's true. Yeah. I think I'm not a scientist or anything. I'm just learning right now. I do know one thing very well. I know drugs and I know people on drugs. That sniffing and that coughing, it's either he has a very bad sinus problem or he's on coke. And I don't know, I don't know.
I tell you,
I don't know if I should have said that or not, but
I kind of wish you hadn't. I kind of wish you hadn't.
Yeah, I mean, I can't make any claims like that against him. I have no idea. I don't make any accusations about people.
When you make $2,600 a week, you can afford it.
Yeah, well, that would be. Yeah,
but I mean, if you want to say something like, he definitely has indications of something wrong with him. I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't have no idea what's related to, whether it be this or that. But I'm not going to go on and make accusations that I can't substantiate because that just makes it just even worse.
Okay, I got to say three things that I know about Ronnie, and I think people know this. I'm in a pretty strong epistemic position to know this because he and I have talked about it, and this will be the end of it because we're not talking about it. So there are three things I can tell you from my conversations with Ronnie. Number one, he's a dishonest person. Number two, he has a condition that is being properly treated and is unrelated to drug use because he is a fan of clean living and good health. And number three, he's a dishonest person who will lie about anyone at the drop of a hat.
I take that back.
And I think I'll accept all three of those.
I apologize then for saying that. Then.
Yeah,
I didn't know that much. I just been around it so much, and the symptoms look like it. I shouldn't have said that.
I know what you mean. The periscope comes up sometimes when you look and you go, wait a minute, why is this guy doing this? And the periscope kind of comes up, and I understand that. It's just one of the things is that we sometimes get the accusation of looking for just bad things and even making up bad things about these people. And what I want them and their followers, ball washer crowd, to recognize is that when we say something about these people that is a sort of an unpalatable assessment, like to call him a lying cunt has been done, that's based on an honest opinion, which for most people, that's developed through actual evidence. We can come up with examples about that. I really wish he would stop coming up with these false accusations. And I say that honestly and lovingly. I've talked to him about that privately and said, you really need to stop doing that. It hurts the conversation. It hurts your position. It takes everybody off the focus of what we generally like to be talking about. And he just says, no, I'm going to just keep doing it. So he's, and I think, when we've talked about it, the reason that he states is, like when I tell him, look, you shouldn't say this because you don't have evidence for that. You shouldn't be making these false accusations. So, for example, there's a period of time where people were saying that Fiona Robertson doesn't have a PhD. That is to say that she claims she has a PhD, but is in fact lying about it. Okay, so they're accusing Fiona Robertson not just merely of not having a PhD. I can accuse Steve of not having a PhD. So what? In this case with Fiona, because she claims she has a PhD, they're saying she's lying about it. And I can tell him, well, look, people don't like those kind of lies. And then he'll say in response, but I happen to believe this to be true. So, for example, he thinks I'm a liar. When I tell him, stop calling me a liar, he'll say, but I actually do believe that you're a liar. So then what do you do? Because he doesn't feel like he's lying when he says stuff like that. I wish they would appreciate that when we say these things, it's because we actually believe it and have evidence to actually support it, unlike Ronnie, where he claims everybody else is a liar and has no evidence for it. And there's no effort here to try to make up bullshit stories or engage in rampant speculation just to make somebody look bad, right? Like that's irrelevant. And I'm just trying to say people shouldn't do that as well.
Yeah, there's just so much we can pick of things they actually do say and things we can demonstrate. As a matter of fact, we had taken somebody to the side last night, Christopher and I. I'm not going to say who just right now, but we took one of the people that do go over to their hangouts quite frequently and has us pretty much historically sided with Ronnie. And we explained to them the situation from the beginning with Ronnie. And even they admitted, yeah, this you've had this well documented, and it does appear initially that, yeah, Ronnie's full of shit. But they want to do their own investigation, watch some of the video links. And I understand that, right? But we can do this with anybody. We can show people if they are the people they claim to be that are honest, right? These Christians that want to know truth. I will be happy to go in any offer or hangout and show them step by step how Ronnie has lied repeatedly and how this whole DNA saga has just transformed itself into this convoluted snowball of web of lies that he's had, among other things. Or in this particular case with like the Lance scenario, how he lied about that, because it was very clear that Lance had explained himself further because of the poorly worded question. Because I've explained it to this person the same way. But if I ask somebody, hey, does water conduct electricity? Well, some people may say yes, some people may say yeah, no, but it depends. If you're talking about pure water, no. But if you're talking about tap water, yes. So the question is vague. So when I say DNA doesn't aggregate in water, it really is a vague question, because it was never about taking tap water and sticking DNA in it, because I know we all agreed at that point that would have degradation because of the nucleases. There's no problem with that. But Ronnie's argument initially was, and this is something we have well documented, that as soon as you put DNA into water, the act of dissolving is synonymous with degrading, and it will break apart into its constituent parts, into little nucleotides, and lose the sequence. That is what he said from day one until recently. He started retracting some of this stuff. Hogtie, is that not exactly the case?
That everything you said there's exactly right. And then this is specifically on the point of his video with Lance in it. I mean, what an honest person would do there is you're saying that all the questions poorly worded, whatever. I mean, the thing is, there's no benefit of the doubt there to say, well, maybe Ronnie was confused about what Lance interpreted the question to be, because there was additional information. If he would have just played another 30 seconds of conversation, it would have made it clear. And the reason I say he has no excuse in this, he can't claim that he was confused or misunderstood, because this is his habit, right? You remember with the conversation with when the question was put to Hugh Ross, while Hugh was answering, Fuzz Rana was beside him and nodding and smiling a little bit, which is a very typical cue for "let me speak next. I will fix what you just did wrong," right? Because one member of the Academy will never turn to another and just say, "That was stupid. Let me, you're wrong." Like, they'll say, "Please finish your point, but you were going to want to wrap this up and then let me go next." And then that's what happened. Fuzz Rana then explained, "Oh, well, no, actually, it's this." Actually, sorry, then there's a clip where, sorry, right before that. So Rana starts nodding. Ross says, "Oh, well, one moment, why don't you ask the biochemist in the room?" Which is exactly what the nod means. It means, I would like to take this. So the other person will usually yield the question to him. And it was perfectly clear when you watch, that's what was going on. Then Rana answered the question, and then they went on some discussion about cold temperatures and whatever. But so all that information was available to Ronnie. Instead, what he did was, "Oh no, I can't play the part where the correct answer is given, and the two scientists concur that that's what the correct answer is. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the part where Hugh Ross is speaking, and then I'm going to play the part, including the part where Rana is nodding along with him, and then stop it and use my own voice to describe what Rana meant deep down psychologically by nodding." Right? And he says, "Notice how he nods in agreement." No, he didn't. He was nodding in disagreement. That's the cue that you give a fellow member of the Academy. So, he had to have listened to that whole clip in order to go through and select out the part that showed that Ronnie was wrong, and then reinterpret the nodding for the benefit of his audience to be misinformed. So this is just how he makes his videos.
Yeah, I mean, Fuzz Ronnie has made it very clear that matter of fact, in the prior video, he actually made it very clear. And it's kind of funny because Ronnie, again, with his projection, had said, "Oh, look at Steve. He actually had to go back to the first video to show what Fuzz Ronnie said, and thinking that we wouldn't notice. When I even said in my video, let's look at the first video." I mean, I'm just floored that he does this kind of shit. Like, look, Steve thought he could get away with this. I'm like, I said in my video, let's go look back at the first video. Fiona, do you want to link? She's in the live feed. What are you doing awake, woman?
And he can't say that he's doing it for the views. He can't say he's doing it for the views because he's really not getting any views. So
no, he does it for the attention.
He likes the accolade. He does adore the accolade from his friends there. And sorry, I also wanted to mention this point again about the hypocrisy on their side. Like I say, you have Beckel praising Ronnie for making this video, which is very clearly a quote mine. And the reason I pick on Beckel specifically, he's only one. There's a whole group of them do that. But Beckel is one of the most vocal about what a dishonest person's scattered fiction is for his 23-minute quote mines. Whereas here he is, he's watching an obvious quote mine, and Beckel, and then he's just like, "Oh no, that's fine." Now, this next situation I'm going to tell you about, Beckel is not at all involved in this. He has nothing to do with it. He's got his own personal life. Beckel does not sit for hours a day talking with these people behind the scenes, but they do have quite a few off-air hangouts. And I've mentioned a couple of times, the word's gotten back to me that they've been telling people like Antonio and Carlos and people like that, like anyone who, if G-Man or True Empiricism say, "Oh, there's all these dishonest people. They're mean and dishonest and bitter people. That Steve McRae, that J.D. Kane, that Hogtie Champ, that and they start listing all these names. If any one of them pipes up, as Carlos has, as Antonio has, and said, "Well, you know what? My experience with Hogtie has actually been pretty good." In an off-air hangout, those guys have been told, "I know Hogtie seems nice, but he's a snake in the grass," and they will lay out their reasoning for how I'm pretending to be nice and all these other things and whatnot, right? But what's interesting about this is, like, what is a snake in the grass, right? A snake in the grass is somebody who sneaks around. The image of the snake in the grass relies on the notion that you look at this nice grass and everything looks safe, but hidden in the grass is a snake that's going to create a problem for you. And it's the whole thing about the subterfuge and what was the word we started using for it? Deceivousness. That it's about the secret, the ploy, right? And whereas I've come out and said a number of times, there's no ploy on my part. If I'm polite to someone, it's because I want to be polite to them and it merits it. When I'm rude to them, it's on a particular issue and it's focused on that, and I'm being open and honest and candid. So when I tell somebody, well, you're wrong about that, you know, like me being nice to Ronnie because, you know, I'm concerned for him, I wish his happiness, that's honest. When I tell Ronnie he's wrong about DNA in water, and I tell him he's stupid for not getting it after a year and a half, that's honest. That's my honest opinion. Whereas at the same time, those guys will take aside their fellow believers and tell them, don't trust Hogtie because he's a snake in the grass. Similarly, they've been having, do you remember some time ago this thing about Fiona not having a PhD, and again coming forward, it's not just she doesn't have one, but she's been expressly lying about it, and apparently even faking a little binded book that makes it look like she has a PhD. These are all accusations they used to make in public. It's since been proven to them, there's ample evidence, both because of the production of the thesis document itself, the registry at the university, which one again, once again, I forget the name of, and Warwick, yeah, and a solid publication record. 2 of the PDFs I've seen have her rank and affiliation published at the very bottom footnote of column 1. And those are not things that can be faked, because you can download that stuff from the sites themselves. So that ample information has been out there that she does in fact hold the PhD and had served at least a period of time in that capacity, you know, as a scientist, right, holding that degree. So they don't talk about it on air anymore, but they do talk about it amongst themselves. And so what they do now is, now that they've got the proof, is they say, well, that's okay, we'll just talk secretly to ourselves. And when they have new younger members come in who are interested in getting into great debate stuff, one of the first things they're told is that Fiona person talks a good game, but you got to watch because she's a liar. She's such a big liar. She actually invented this whole personality and claims to have a PhD when she doesn't. But don't say it on air, because as soon as you say it on air, then they all circle the wagons and they pretend that she does have one. So where's the snake in the grass here? Is it somebody who will tell somebody to their face, look, I don't like when you lie. I think it hurts the conversation when you tell lies and make false accusations. Or is it the person who goes into an off-air hangout and tells other people, don't trust that person, don't trust that person. And don't tell other people that I told you not to trust that person.
But it's kind of
well,
good,
you know,
Hogtie,
Hogtie, it says in the Bible that you should go forth and speak to your brethren and put poison in their ear about others.
I thought that was in the Quran.
Oh, I'm not sure, but either way, it's probably a Christian thing they like to do.
But I think it's okay that, well, it's not obviously okay that they do that, but I think we could use that to our advantage as well. By the way, I did put Fiona's video that she put out today in the live feed, Red's video put out, she put out in the live feed, and then mine as well. We could use this to our advantage, because what happens, I've noticed, is that there are people that will come to us in private, and they will go off air and will talk to us, and we can show them, hey, these are the accusations being made. Let's actually examine them. It's trivial at this point to show that Fiona has a PhD. Just trivial, right? I mean, they know this. But if they're telling people off to the side that she doesn't, then if we get to hold of those people and say, look, this is what your brothers are saying to you, this is what the brothers in Christ are lying about, it might have an effect. Because if the person we talked to the other day, you know, they consider themselves an actual Christian. They want the truth. They don't want to be this ball washer that just, you know, agrees with people just because they claim to be Christian if they're actually lying. In fact, they want to distance themselves from that kind of shit. And I don't blame them. Generals warned them about this happening. General made a very novel prediction saying, hey, you know, you guys keep this up and people are going to label you anti-Christians or not Christians because, you know, you're not doing Christ-like things. You're lying and being dishonest to people. And that's not the way you go about being somebody who was considered to be a Christian. But Fiona, how are you? I put your newest video in the live feed so people can go bookmark it for after this is done. It's not very long. It's like 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, I did that today. My laptop crashed about a dozen times in quick succession. So there was nothing else I could do with it. I was lucky I got it uploaded.
Well, it's short and to the point. It definitely pointed out that he deletes comments, but something we all knew, but it's nice to have documented, right?
But I had put a comment in the side chat for Hogtie. Didn't want to.
Yeah, no, I see it. I know. I'm not going to read it off, but yeah.
Sadly, let me retrieve it. I'll be right back.
Well, she could send it to you later or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been in a different hangout all evening, and off here, discussing other things. And I saw that Ronnie's had a hangout calling out Skyler. And every time today, the comments have been, when Ronnie was commenting, as soon as you confronted him with a piece of evidence, like a link to a video, he suddenly seems to want to depart from the thread.
Well, there's a little more. There's a little more to the whole Skyler thing, right?
Yes.
Well, the whole thing with Skyler is that Zulu seriously had messed up with his debate. Like, it's as simple as that.
What?
See that
like
again?
it's a matter of just like the way Zulu behaved with the debate. Like the way he messed up was just very bad. Like, I don't know why Tree was going after him.
Zulu.
Well, he wasn't talking about Zulu's debate. He was talking about my debate with him.
Oh, okay. I thought it was referring to Zulu. My bad.
No, he was talking about my debate with him because Skyler had gone to another video that Wolf claims to be a sock account of Ronnie. I don't know if that's true or not. I will tell you that this guy is as dumb as Ronnie, but I don't know if they're the same person. I really have no idea. His account's been around as long as Ronnie's, and every time you see Ronnie message on a forum like the League of Reason or something, one of those forums out there, this guy messages as well. I think it's kind of odd. There's a pattern there, but I still can't be for sure. Although I told the guy, look, if you're not Ronnie, I don't care one or another. If you aren't, but come into a hangout and let's see who what you have to say, and he won't do it. But Skyler called him out on it, and then immediately later, 5 seconds later, the comments got disabled on the video, and you hear Ronnie, or you see Ronnie creating a new thread going, hey, Skyler, or excuse me, it was on Skyler's thread, going, hey, Skyler, let's talk about this. I'll debate you on this. And Skyler's like, hey, you know what? I'll start a hangout. I have it ready in 5 minutes. I'll be happy to discuss Christianity with you or anything you want to talk about. Look, Ronnie's going to run away right now. He's going to go start a hangout. He's going to say, oh, look, I started my hangout first. Might as well just come in here. And then he call you a coward when you don't go into his room. And that is exactly to the T what Ronnie did.
Yep.
And I want $1 million from the James Randi Foundation for being a psychic.
What's the wolf guy's avatar look like?
Wolf King. He's a wolf head with a pentagram, a red pentagram on it.
That's the one where you think it might be Ronnie.
No, that's
not Ronnie.
No,
not Ronnie.
Wolf King's a Satanist. He's not Ronnie.
No, which one were you thought? Was
his name's
have we seen him in the?
Yeah, investigator. What is it? Something investigator.
Apologetic investor.
Yeah, apologetic investor.
Huh.
I mean, there are a lot of correlations. I'm not saying it's not an unreasonable theory, but I don't know for certainty. But he made a video saying, "Oh, Ronnie won this debate that he had with me," and everybody's like, "Are you fucking out of your mind?"
Yeah.
And by the way,
there's something I did notice though is I've watched a few of Ronnie's videos in the past, and I watched a little bit of that apologetic investigator.
There's some similarities, investor.
Huh? No, I would say that the other guy has a higher video, like a higher production value.
Not much. There's if you look at the font, I mean, it's reminiscent of his videos, but again, not much to go on. I mean, the way it's just he did the writing. I don't know. It's reminded me of something I've seen before. But
but then again, how many fonts do you get with like that kind of software?
I know. Again, I it's probably not the same guy, but it doesn't really matter because he analyzes the thing the same way Ronnie did. He doesn't understand that the debate was on what model best explains natural systems, right? And
actually, there was something that was very similar in his video when he put up the title of the debate. He missed out the bit after the colon. He didn't put up the full title.
He didn't put the full title in there?
No, he didn't put in the bit after the colon.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're the same person. It really just wouldn't, but
either way, in order to discuss what the title was, don't you have to have a model?
Yeah, that's rather.
He didn't even have a presentation. It had nothing to do with the title or my
He saved his minutes for later. He rolled over minutes in a debate.
That's exactly. Yep.
The doctor found 9. Doctor said if there was like formal, if it was just like a scored debate, there has been 9 different reasons why Ronnie would have lost.
Yeah, just fundamental, just the way that debate is run. Yeah, you would have won. Yeah. You could have just said blah 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 the whole time, and just the fundamentals, you would have won.
But I think that guy investor, they're just people that want to literally watch his balls, and I don't know why. I maybe it's a camaraderie thing, maybe it's he's a brother in Christ kind of thing. I don't know, but I mean, I don't think anybody with the 2 brain cells would ever look at that debate that I have with Ronnie and think Ronnie won.
Steve, at some point when it's a brother in Christ, you simply have to say, there, now go sit in the back pew, please.
Some people do. General is not afraid of smacking them down.
Yeah. But last night, when Ronnie had his hangout, I was in his live chat. And I mean, you could see that he was somehow trying to talk himself into holding correct opinion while never admitting he's ever held any other opinion, but trying to explain away this comment about saying he'd changed his mind and all the rest of it. And eventually he ended up admitting in his hangout that he'd changed his mind. Because I could see where this was leading, and I actually had the comment already typed in. I'm just waiting to hit return on it. Basically saying, and he finally admits it. And sure enough, he did. That's why I remember it. But while I was in that live chat, and I was in under the Horse Tricks account, that was my YouTube account from way back before G+ even existed. So it's not a sulk, and I make no secret that it's me.
I knew that. I knew that was you.
Yeah, you know how we all ended up with double accounts. So Vekel had popped up in the live chat, and I was pleading with Vekel, if he cares anything for Ronnie, for goodness sake, help him. Never got a peep out of Vekel. Never said a word. I was asking him to go into the hangout and get Ronnie O'Fair to talk. Nothing.
They don't care about these people. Vekel doesn't give 2 shits about Ronnie, I'm sure, and vice versa. They're just not what I consider to be Christ-like people.
Well, as I've said before, I mean, the whole effort is about letting each other know, hey, you're not stupid, right? You're not stupid for believing in the death and resurrection of Christ. You're not stupid for believing that scientists are wrong about the things that the scientists spend their lives studying. You do have to believe in special creation and the literal interpretation of the creation story from Genesis and the flood and all that stuff. You do have to believe that to be considered our brother. Even though that goes against all established science and really common sense. But you're not stupid for doing that, for going against that stuff and believing in special creation. And, it's a bigger concern for them. It's not so much a concern for us. Like, how many people do we encounter that if you ask them, like, why do you believe that humans are, we might say, if you get somebody who says, humans didn't come from apes. We have a common ancestor that with the apes. And you'll point out to them, no. We're in the same clade, so technically we're all still great apes. And our children always will be too. I say, oh, okay, well, whatever. Right? Because they don't care. And if you say, well, why do you believe that anyway? And they don't know the evidence behind it. They just, they haven't looked into it. They just know that very smart people believe that. And it's not a curiosity for them. What shape is the Earth? Well, it's round. Well, how do you know that? Well, they don't really know that. They just know that it's conventional to believe that, so on they go. So they didn't necessarily put any work to come to either of those beliefs, but they're not stupid for believing it, right? Because they're basically making a reliance on the general reliability of the fruits of the scientific enterprise, and then on they go with life, and they don't necessarily worry about that because they're not interested in it. But it's very different for the evangelicals who are science denialists because they do at times feel stupid, because they believe something that's stupid, and it's demonstrably stupid. Now, they don't look into it either, but there's all this pressure for them to believe it. So there's a big patch-up effort there that they have to tell each other, no, you're not stupid. And here's how I know you're not stupid. Look at this Ronnie fellow. He really studies this stuff. In fact, he knows this stuff so well, he is out there correcting PhD holders left and right. He's just knocking them down, like David and Goliath. And he believes in special creation. He doesn't believe in evolution. And so therefore, you're not stupid. Even though you haven't looked into it yourself, you're not stupid for disbelieving common ancestry. Right? That's part of their motivation. Because I mean, if imagine the psychic tension it creates if they come to realize, well, this person that we've put all our stock into turns out to actually be dishonest and not too swift. That sort of unseats part of my justification for my belief that I'm not so dumb for believing these things.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think people are stupid for having certain faith-based beliefs. I got to differ a little bit. I do think you do show signs of some type of idiocy for wanting to think that the Earth is 7,000 years old, contrary to such overwhelming evidence. And at the worst case, if it's not idiocy, it's certainly disassociative with reality. And I understand people want to have faith, but it just doesn't comport. And I want to say this real quick. By the way, I have more people watching than I Want My Lauren. She has 250,000 subscribers. She only has 47 people watching, and I got 50 something. And I like her. If you don't know who she is, she actually she plays on Funny or Die and Barely Political. She plays like Lady Gaga. She's actually pretty talented, but she doesn't have many people watching her programs anymore. I've been noticing like the highest I've seen her, I was like 60 in the last couple of weeks.
Who's this?
Her name is I Want My Lauren. There's her channel. Lauren, what the hell was her last name? I can't remember her last name. But she's working on 300,000 subscribers, but people don't really watch her stuff. So, I'm appreciative that I only have a fraction of what she has, 1,000 subscribers, 1,100 subscribers, and I have 53 people watching. So,
what's up with that redhead girl that was drinking the wine? What was her name? Baby Blue or something?
Oh, we'll get to that in some point. Don't worry.
Anyway,
don't worry.
Steve.
Oh, she's a fun
my
one.
God.
It's
she is ditzy.
Story.
Well, I mean, are we done with this real quick? Can we segue into that real quick, Fiona?
I just wanted to say something here. As far as the 7,000 year thing with the age of the Earth or whatever number you put to it, if that's what you believe, that's fine. It's when you run around telling everybody else and trying to change the reality that they have, that's your problem. I
think both are problems, to be honest with you. I believe having a belief.
Well, can I explain why? Can I explain why the first one's not a problem? It doesn't matter how old the age of the Earth is when you dig ditches.
Somebody had mentioned.
Really, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Hey,
right. Depending on what you're doing, you're right. It does make a difference. But if, depending on what you do for a living and what you do for your life, that doesn't make a difference. It's when you try to put on other people.
You said
counter what reality really is.
Yeah, Felony, I forwarded your message in the group chat to him in the outside, so he has it, okay? Because he doesn't see the inside group chat, but I've relayed it for you, okay? And somebody had just said that there's YouTube messages saying that you now need 10,000 views to get an ad revenue.
What?
I have not seen that yet. If you can produce that, I would like to read about that, because that is bullshit.
That's messed up.
And that would explain after a certain date, why my ad revenue went to shit. Which, by the way, thank you people for picking up and making up the difference. I have had new Patreons lately, including Tony here, and that does the difference between my Patreon before and the revenue actually it balanced out, because I only made about $30 a month from ad revenue. So the increase in my Patreon did make up for that. So thank you guys. But yeah, I didn't know that the ad revenue was 10,000 views. That seems freaking ridiculous.
That'll close out a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, because what's the average? What's the average? I mean, 1,000 is a lot, isn't it?
Here's the thing. I've done some little research on this. And Age of Atheism. Yeah, if you want to be $5 a month, I'm ecstatic. Trust me. Anything that people donate to me, I am appreciative for, very much so. But here's the thing. Different categories have an average of different amount of views. The average for entertainment is 9,000 views per video. And the reason why it's so high is that most things are under entertainment, right? And the entertainment ones are going to have the ones that are 1.5 billion, right? So it raises that level up much higher of what the average is going to be. Now, other videos like, you know, home improvement or whatever, they only have about 2,000 views per on the average. So most categories are, if you look at all of them, it's only between like 2,000 and 10,000 views. So, and they're in the low end, it's usually 2,000 to 4,000 views per video. So my videos are actually right on average of what the average YouTube would make as a whole. And that means there's a lot of videos that don't get more than 100 views. In fact, most videos don't get more than 100 views on YouTube, and most channels don't have more than 1,000 subscribers. If you have 1,000 subscribers, you're actually like in the top 20% of YouTube, right? But the big names you see, they're on the top 1%, right? So it's
just like society then, pretty much. You got your billionaires, you got
yeah, no, there's a cross section there, literally. I mean, if you just do some random sampling, right, you would find that most channels don't have more than a few hundred subscribers, if that, right? They just don't. 1,000 is quite a bit.
I got 11 subs.
What's the
I don't even have videos.
I know we have none.
Somebody said that they don't know how to change the Patreon. All you do is you just click on the Patreon, and then there's a little box you can put in any amount you want, $1.
It wasn't working for me today. It wasn't. But
no, it's there.
The link that you gave me, then that worked.
If you go to my Patreon, there's a little button there, become a patron or whatever. There's a little radio button, right? But underneath that, there's a little box that allows you to put your own amount in. It's there. Yeah, I guarantee it. You know, so yeah, if you can't figure it out, atheism, let me know. Let me see if I can do that real quick with him. But yeah, I like to see that firsthand that it's now 10,000 views, because mine's going to be a while before I get to start getting 10,000 views, because I just don't have the circulation, I think.
Well, you're getting interviews now that are, you know, you're getting some really good people, and I think it'll start climbing.
Thank you. And I got some more in the works. I definitely do. Okay. I'm going to send you the link on the outside chat. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin just sent me a link to the BBC article, and I will read that in a second here. But one thing at a time. So if that's what it says is choose your rewards, $10 a month. Right underneath there's a box next to the continue. Just change the $10 to something else in the continue. That's how you do it. So in that little orange box which says $10, you just put in $5 or whatever and continue, and that's how you change the amount. And Kevin Jandis, thank you. I will look at that in a second here. It says YouTube channels need 10,000 views for adverts as of April 7, 2017. New channels. See, but these are new channels though.
Yeah, you should be
grandfathered.
Yeah,
grandfathered. New channels will have to get 10,000 views before they can consider the YouTube Partner Program. I am in the YouTube Partner Program. And by the way, I have more than 10,000 views. I have 230,000 views on my channel. I have almost 250,000 views. That's not on one video. That's total viewage. I have way more than 10,000 views. Yeah, I just looked. It's going to be 250,000 views. No, that's weird. No, it's
wait. So does that's how it works? Like it's views all together, or your one video has to reach 1,000 to get paid for, or can you just have 3 videos that all have 350, and then you get the ad revenue?
Okay, the title of the article is YouTube won't put ads on videos for channels with fewer than 10,000 views.
That's not what it's saying, though, is it?
I just found the article now, so I'm going to go read it.
Okay. If anybody
basically, it's cutting all the chaff out, the stuff that the advertisers probably don't want to be advertising on, where people are complaining they're getting demonetized.
Yeah, but that's gonna kill a lot of the lower end channels.
Yeah, but a lot of those lower end channels are doing what, Steve?
Well,
they're getting like 100 views.
But I mean,
10,000 content.
Quite a bit. For 1,000 views, that's $1. So that's $10 per video.
Okay, it's 10,000 total views.
Yeah, it's total views.
So you have 10,000 videos with 1 view each, then you qualify.
Yeah, and I have almost 250,000 views.
Yeah.
But anyways, beside the point. Let's move on to like the Orphan Red thing. I want to talk about that. Age of Atheist says he changed the amount to 5 and no go. Hey, Red Eye, you donate a couple bucks a month. Can you help Age of Atheism with that, Red Eye, or somebody that's like donated a few dollars, like less than the $10 amount? Because I know there's a way to do it. Let's see, was that? I'm sorry. You know what it is? Age of Atheism. You hit no reward. Hit no reward and then go into that box and change it. There you go. So instead of having the plus $10 go to no reward and then type in the amount, then hit continue. There you go. That's how you do it. Thank you. Thank you, by the way. Okay. So anyways, you guys had asked about Orphan Red. Orphan Red is somebody I came across. I don't remember where or when, but I had looked through some of her videos and went, holy shit. I had found out subsequently that she's kind of putting on an act, according to some people, and that they don't even know if she even buys into this bullshit, which to me is just amazing that people do this, right? That there's people that go on the internet to fuck with people, and such time and dedication, right? But I have to treat it as legit because people do listen to her. And so I have picked a random video, somewhat random, and that I was like, I can easily debunk this one. And I made a video on it. And I sent a lot of people from the Flat Earth channels over to check it out, and they all liked it. So we'll be working on another one here soon. I picked another video that I found from her that I think I could do a reasonable job explaining why she's an idiot, be it whether she's a troll or not. I don't know, a pro or not. But yeah, she's definitely not intelligent either way, I guess, because I mean, who does that? If you don't believe in Flat Earth and you're promoting it, you're not too bright. And if you do believe in Flat Earth, you're not too bright. So either way.
Is this the gal with the slosh and wine glass?
Yeah, and the big round, huge eyes.
We were having a back and forth today, her and I.
On what channel or where?
Nice save there, Steve. Huge round
eyes.
Huge. She had beautiful, nice round eyes.
For real, right?
Staring them all.
She had nice shoulders, didn't she?
Yes, very broad.
I didn't see her shoulders. I was looking busy looking at her boobs.
Yeah, I don't get the distinction. Oh, that I get. But the distinction between, well, is she telling the truth or not telling the truth, or I should say the truth, because that's of course with reality. I mean, when people are speaking the truth to their beliefs, right? So when you make a statement, you're either saying something that is consistent with your beliefs or something inconsistent with your beliefs. That is your line. And I think that's a very black and white distinction that is just obvious in the minds of people who worry about such distinctions. Some things are true, some things are false. Some statements are truth-telling, some statements are lying. And we just have this whole culture that's grown around that those things are really fuzzy, that people have a right to be wrong. And I don't get the impression that she's really worrying herself about either, well, I'm going to speak the truth to my convictions. I've thought about this. These are my conclusions. I'm going to express my conclusions with the level of confidence that I have in them. Alternatively, well, this is what I believe, but I can make more money on YouTube by sloshing around a glass of wine and saying stuff that is contradictory, in contradiction with my beliefs. There's a whole bunch of people who make videos because that's part of the culture of people who just say, well, I have a right to say this. And if it draws in views, then golly gee, that's fun too. And they really don't concern themselves with whether it's true or false, or whether it comports or contradicts their actual beliefs.
Sure, but they are just as bad as the actual flat earthers that believe Flat Earth, in my opinion, though.
I think it's slightly worse.
In some ways, yeah.
There's a comment I wrote about this. I'm gonna make people hunt for it though, because it's not on my page. The very sadly undersubscribed or underfollowed, I guess we say followers on when it comes to Plus. Jade West put up a post that links to a video of a congressman saying something about how, well, of course the Earth is warming, because as everybody knows, as the Earth goes around the sun, each year it gets a little bit closer to the sun. So we would expect it to be warming. It doesn't matter if we're driving around in Hummers when we go to the grocery store. It's the fact that the Earth is like spiraling in closer and closer to the sun every year. So obviously that's the reason. And people are saying, like, can you believe this congressman said that? Like how, this is why we need good science education. So if you look on that post of Jade's, you'll see a comment I made in response about how it's, you know, well, I'm not going to repeat it all here, but it's a slightly different view. I think the problem is bigger than just saying, well, there's a problem with the American education system. There's a culture around that started back in the 50s and 60s, a culture around rights, and as I often call it, the right to be wrong. And it started in the 50s or 60s, and you're now into the third generation of it. So the people who were kids in that era are now not just leaders in industry and leaders in education, but they're actually leaders of the country. And this is reaping what you sow when it comes to that attitude. Anyway, I forgot why I brought this up, but if you look for that post by Jade and you look at that comment, you'll see what I'm getting at here. But like I say, this is part of that culture of the right to be wrong.
See, I would actually say that we would be, again, I could be wrong on this, but I would actually say that we're moving away from the sun more every year, just like the same reason why the moon is moving away from us at 2.4 centimeters a year, whatever it is, because of tidal locking.
That's what I was thinking.
But I mean, well, somebody can look that up and let me know. But if I had a guess, I would say, usually in orbit, you're usually going to move away from each other for the same reason.
Until you get to the point where the two objects are fully tidally locked. So we only see the same side of the moon right now. But the moon, if you lived on the moon, you would see every day, you'd see the full Earth as it spins underneath. But that's slowing down. Eventually, there will be a point in the time when only people on one side of the moon can see the Earth, and only people on one side of the Earth can see the moon. And as the Earth is slowing down, that energy goes to putting the moon out in a higher orbit.
Sure.
Very, very slow process. But I'm saying now, when you look at the rotational speed of the sun, as that energy gets put out to a planet that's 93 million miles away, and to all these other planets, like, I mean, what kind of time scale are you looking at to where the slowing of the sun?
A long time.
Yeah. So I don't even know that we could. So while it's true that we have measurable, what we call, the measurable lunar recession. And when I say it's measurable, it's this ridiculous number, like, what is it, an inch per year?
It's 2.4 centimeters a year or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's, because it's an inch.
Yes, inch. Yeah.
Not quite.
What is it? It's
probably like
2.2 inches. Inch is almost 2.5 centimeters, right?
Yeah, 2.54. Yeah. So so it's pretty small. Or did I say inch per month? Inch per year. Yeah. So it's pretty small, and how we even call that measurable, I'm not sure, because the actual eccentricity of the lunar orbit is way bigger than that. So they're saying that the moon comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes, but on average, over the course of 10 years, it'll go out about 10 inches or 9.5 inches or whatever it is. So,
but as you said, there's a measurable amount of decrease or rotation of the Earth that you're not going to have in the sun. At least it's not nowhere near as notable.
Yeah, well, I don't know that we're really measuring that, though. I have to admit to being confused on that point.
Where do they get their measurement from?
The Earth is slowing down. That's causing the energy to be going into the moon, causing it to be pushed away.
Well, we do have surprisingly accurate measurements of the lunar position, because there are retroreflective prisms.
Assuming we've been to the moon, yeah.
If so. But again, I think that the measurement is suffers due to several things, like our knowledge of the speed of light, and then, of course, the speed of light changes in an unknown way as it comes into the atmosphere, because you don't know. There's perturbations in the atmosphere that make it so we don't actually know it. And I think the measurement error, even when you're using lasers against retroreflective targets, the ability to come up with an inch precise measurement when you're measuring at scales from the Earth to the moon, I don't know how they do that. To be clear, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying I literally don't understand it. I think what they've done is they have a model of how the Earth is tidally flexing and slowing down, and that squishiness and the slowing of the Earth would lead to this recession of the moon. And anyway, so my point is that so there is a measurable amount. At least when I say to you an inch per year, you know what an inch is, you know what a year is. So that's a meaningful thing, even though it's hard for people to understand how incredibly trivial that amount is. But now if we talk about the sun, how far, so we have measurable lunar recession. So what is the Earth's recession from the sun? Is it even a number we could talk about it? Like, is it 7 millimeters per decade, or like, I don't even know how we would.
It's going to be. It would be. I think it'd be negligible for all practical purposes.
Yeah, because where would they take the measurement? Yeah,
we would have a model, right? Because we know what the speed of the sun is, and then I guess if somebody has an estimate for how much the sun is slowing down in its rotation, that energy has to go somewhere, and then you recognize that there's many objects that are going around the sun at various different distances. And presumably with a good enough computer, a person could come up with a model that says, well, that means the recession of Jupiter would be this, and the recession of Earth would be that, and the recession of Mercury would be, I would think it would actually be a bit more. I'm going to Google it.
Google.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, go do that.
I love Google.
I'm too lazy. I just literally kick back and just laying
Let someone else Google.
Practically laying down at this point. I'm just kicking in this chair, my feet up, blanket on me. So I just, yeah. That's what I have my minions to go look up things for.
Yeah, Google that for me.
Google, hey, Kevin, go Google that for me. You know, I tell you what, if I ever get a podcast, Kevin Janis is going to be my what do they call that person who does like the research guy?
Oh, the research
gopher?
guy.
The research guy.
Gopher.
Yeah, I'm totally freaked out. I'm totally freaked out about this. I went into my Chrome search bar, and here, can you turn it down like 2 notches? And then I typed "is the Earth," and the first recommendation search was "is the Earth flat?" And then I put like space RE, and the next one that popped up was "is the Earth receding from the sun?" So isn't that
weird?
asking?
Yeah.
So we're not the only ones who are wondering about this.
And what did it say?
It's sad that the first one is flat, though.
Is the Earth flat?
Well, that's a hot topic. People are more interested in that.
You know, I'm all for asking questions, but if you're over the age of 8 and you got to ask that question, it bothers me.
For real.
Yeah, it mentions, well, just even a little Google search is as a consequence, each year the moon's orbit expands by about 4 centimeters, and the Earth's rotation slows by about point, and then there's 4 zeros, 1.7 seconds, so it's a trivial amount of a second.
Is it 4 inches? Maybe I read 2.4.
No, it's 4 centimeters.
4 centimeters. Okay.
But it should give it as a rate, 4 centimeters per year. I'm presuming they say. I thought it was
annually,
2.4 or whatever, but okay, 4 centimeters.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too. I thought it was a little bit lower than that, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's
not a significant difference.
That's not even. I mean, 2 inches is, we sort of regard 5 centimeters as 2 inches. That's a little short.
Yeah,
but whatever.
You say that now, but in my 20s, 2 inches would have been a hell of a lot.
Well, then it says, this is actually from New Scientist. This is actually from newscientist.com. According to their explanation, the distance between the Earth and the Sun is growing because the Sun is losing its angular momentum, and then it unfortunately truncates the angular.
Yeah, I could imagine, and I would think it's losing mass too, obviously.
It says they calculate that thanks to the Earth. Now, they calculate that thanks to the Earth, the Sun's rotation rate is slowing by 3 milliseconds per century.
Oh God, yes, that's so negligible.
Yeah, except why would they say thanks to the Earth? Because we're not the only player in the game.
Well, we do, yeah, but we do have an effect on it. But what I think they would probably do is they probably would take all the effect and then make it proportional to each planet's individual gravitational force on it. They could narrow it down and say, okay, well, the Earth is having this much percentage effect on it, therefore the total effect, and then would be this. Ergo, do it some kind of ratio, right? But what effect would? I mean, obviously Jupiter would have a considerably bigger effect than we would.
Well, it's further away,
but it's bigger, much bigger.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. It's a trade-off, right? So
yeah. Well, I'm not going to praise this posting. It says, and actually, it's funny because it's right on point. It's in New Scientist, which you like, and it says, "Why is the Earth moving away from the Sun?" is the name of it, but it really gives us kind of a wobbly description of why this happens. Oh, here it is. No, they do have it here. Bloomberg calculate in 2004 that the Sun and the Earth are gradually moving apart. It's not much, just 15 centimeters per year. Well, that is something worth talking about.
15 centimeters per year is actually a little more substantial than I would have thought.
Yeah, well, they do refer to that as about, and we have different ways of measuring. In fact, thanks to radar beams pinging off various solar system bodies and to tracking of interplanetary spacecraft, the Earth-Sun distance has been pegged with remarkable accuracy. The current value is, and they give this ridiculous number, I'll say it's 149 million kilometers, but then they list it to, 12 significant digits. So it's 149 million, something, and then 0.696. So they list it down to the thousandth of a kilometer. That would be they list it to the nearest meter.
That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. I find that kind of ridiculous, but okay. So we can measure, according to this, they're saying it's that, and then plus or minus who knows how much. Whoa. But then they say that 15 centimeters per year is 100 times their measurement error. Well, 1/100th of the measurement error.
the problem I only find with that is that when you're working with significant, you know this, but to other people, when you're working with significant digits, you can only use the significant digits to the most inaccurate thing you have. In other words, you can have something that is highly precise to 10 decimal places, but your other figure is only to 1/10 of a decimal place. You can only be a certainty to 1/10 of a decimal place. So you only use the worst significant digit you have, right? Hogtie, would that how you would word it?
Yeah, and I buck the whole logic of significant digits anyway, because the more sensible way of doing it, and people don't like this because now you got to use two numbers.
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
You use the best point estimate, a confidence interval construction. So you represent the best point estimate to a reasonable number of digits, and then you also represent your confidence interval width. So you can say something 0.696. Yeah, and then plus or minus 0.121.
Well, people have done it that way, haven't they?
Right. So what that means when you say 0.696 plus or minus 0.121, you're saying that even the 0.6, like there's a 696, none of the 6, 9, or 6 are certain. But you're listing 0.121 as your standard error of estimate. But it gives those two numbers alone give people a very reasonable model of the bell curve that would describe plausibly where that value would lie. Whereas once you start saying, well, it says 0.696, but since our confidence interval is 0.121, we're going to have to round off the 0.96, and we're just going to call it 0.7 now.
So instead of having a round off, which is you would rather just say, hey, look, it's going to be in this range somewhere.
Yeah, show the range, because as soon as you round off, so you have a best point estimate, and that's the peak of your bell curve in your parameter estimation. So as soon as you then say, well, no, we got to do a round off. Well, you actually have to change the digit you're unsure about. You have to just pick one and say, well, it says 0.696. We're just going to call that 0.7. Well, no, that's a different number.
Well, you don't just randomly do that. That is based upon what your significant digits are from prior values or other values that you're using.
Yeah, but then you're not representing your best point estimate.
Right.
It's worse if, let's say it was 0.645. Well, then you're just going to call it 0.6. You don't want to call it 0.645. You're pretty sure it's about halfway between 0.6 and 0.7, but we're going to call it 0.6. Where if it was 0.651, well, then we're just going to call it 0.7. Well, we know enough about it to know that it's between 0.6 and 0.7, and pretty much halfway between 0.6 and 0.7. So it would be inaccurate or imprecise to say, well, it's really somewhere close to 0.6, or it's really somewhere close to 0.7. It really is known that it's somewhere between 0.6 and 0.7. And we have a number for that. So why not just use the number that we have to represent that? But regardless, the answer, they say, what did I say, 150, what did I say? How far is it going?
15.69, the whole value. But 15,
no, I just made up numbers.
15 centimeters is what you said annually.
15 centimeters per year. Yeah.
Which, but to go back to rejoin the whole thing from the beginning, though, you know,
what was
that the senator said that we were getting closer, and that was causing global warming. We're actually getting a lot further away. So wouldn't we be going into an ice age if that was the case, according to him?
Yeah. Well, you're 15 centimeters. I don't. Canada's
well, according to him, though. I mean, we're using his logic. I mean, I know 15 centimeters is not going to cause an ice age, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, again, it's an example of people holding their personal truth. Like when you ask actual scientists that study this, like you don't even ask the question, why is the Earth warming? Instead, you ask the question, is the Earth really warming? Can you please confirm for me that this is a real observed effect? How do you know that? They'll show you the hockey stick graph, right? They'll show you that it doesn't matter what measurement system we use, we get the same pattern, like whether we're using, ocean-based monitoring or satellites or, whatever it is. You always get that little hockey stick shape. And they say, okay, so we can confirm that the planet is actually warming in its average temperature. The second question you can ask is, well, are we the cause of it? And their answer is not going to be a yes or a no. The scientists are going to answer, well, kinda. There are natural cycles that happen. The Earth warms and cools obviously over annual periods, but over 12-year periods. There's the solar input that happens during the sun sort of pulsates, and then there's like 10,000 year and 40,000 year cycles. So they'll tell you all about our understanding of these natural cycles, and then they'll say, aside from all that, about 96% of the change that we're seeing in the global average temperature is actually due to human activity. And the mechanism for this happening is CO2. And you can say, well, why does CO2 cause this? And again, you're going to get an earful of them explaining this. None of this matters to people who have a right to their personal truth, right? They're the ones who will do some demonstration and show that, well, gee, do you realize when they talk about the CO2, they're talking about a product that's in the atmosphere. At the lower atmosphere, CO2 is about 400 parts per million. Right? You take 1 million parts of air, only 400 of those parts is actually CO2. So really, what difference does it make if you have a lot of it or not a lot of it? Well, it used to be, like 50 years ago, it was about 100 to 150 parts per million. So now it's 400. We're getting very close to tripling the concentration of CO2. If CO2 has an important function in the climate, then yes, tripling the CO2 is going to make a difference. But again, they don't care about this. They have their personal truth. And you telling them that they're mistaken about it, and here, please look at this data, is met with the response, I don't have to because I have a right to have my personal truth on this issue.
It's amazing how people want to be ignorant.
Yeah, no, and it's so funny because, I mean, do you guys remember when Jay and I were having a discussion, and my views got totally twisted, and I was like, wait a minute, I am not a climate change denier. Hell freaking no. People like Steve's denying climate change? No, not at all. I've only said, though, I do believe that anthropogenic gases are a root cause of global warming. And I do believe it's not just carbon dioxide, by the way. I think it's carbon tetrafluoroethane. I think it's carbon monoxide. I think it's, the CFCs from aerosols, Freon. I think there's a lot of different things.
Is it methane really?
Methane could actually is a greenhouse gas. Cows put that up more than we do, though.
Yes, I got something right. Woo!
Cow farts. Cow farts are pretty potent for methane. But do I think there's been an adequate amount of research that can make that into a definitive? Yes, absolutely. This is the primary cause. I don't think that research has been completed yet. I think it's in progress. I think it'll eventually get there. And I do think the solar cycle has a huge amount to do with the carbon, the global change. But that's not a climate denier make. I mean, I do believe very strongly that we are a huge contributor to global warming. I just haven't. We actually, it's not even. I just haven't. We haven't had the studies that have definitively showed what percentage our influence has had on the climate, and that's what they're researching, though. That's what they're showing, and they eventually will get there. Does that clarify my position a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I do think that we should have Clean Air Acts. I do think we should minimize our emissions. I think Trump is a horrible, environmental person. So
he's a horrible lot of stuff. Yeah.
I think that we should be a leader in that. I mean, other countries around the world should look to us for emission controls, and we can do it. I used to work at a biomass steam plant not long after I got in the Navy. As soon as I got in the Navy, I built computers for several years, and then I took a job doing biomass palm trees burning, which is really, really messy, by the way. But they had a scrubbing system that would lower the emissions of the CO2, and they're called scrubbers. And we have to check on these things, and you have filters and you have emission detectors. There are ways of lowering the emissions of these things, but they're not cheap, and they have to be monitored. So if Trump or people don't want to have the cost increase, because that obviously is cast on the consumer, then I do see them worrying about the economics things, but I think the economic thing's worth it. I think it's not a lot, obviously, but the amount we save protecting the environment now will be astronomically less than what we have to expend later on to fix this shit. You know what I'm saying? So.
Did you see that they were using the exhaust and making plastic out of the air? Oh man, what was that? I don't know, but they were trying to they were using the exhaust on this plant, and they were somehow converting it to plastics or something.
It's possible. You know what's funny is my dad actually owned a plastic molding injection company. He was a CEO of a company called Simplector Technologies, and Simplector was a cassette retrieval system. He had many patents, and one of the things he used to have were these big big plastic molding injection things, and it was either polyurethane or polyethylene. I don't remember. I think it was polyethylene, and it's basically these stainless steel things, molds, very expensive molds. I mean, they're like $250,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're not easy to cut. And then you inject the hot plastic in there. And I can see a system where you have some kind of carbon emission retrieval system that can be used to somehow a process called vitrification to encapsulate some of that stuff into the plastic. I think I could see that happening.
Yeah. Thunderfoot did something about that.
Hey, you know what, Jade? Yeah, you know what, Jade actually had mentioned before she worked on injection molding machines for a while. I remember her saying that because I remember we had this discussion before when I had mentioned that my dad was a CEO of Simplector Technologies, and I grew up around a lot of this plastic molding injection stuff, and it was really cool to watch too because the excess would just like come off of the machine and just spiral like poop. You know, just like
yeah. Have you seen them make records? I like watching make records. When they
they etch that.
How
to cut it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, cutting the tooling is interesting too because I don't know if you've ever worked with lathes or anything. I've worked a little bit with machine.
Oh yeah, metal.
And that stuff is
and wood.
Razor fucking sharp. I have never seen anything as sharp as that shit that is when you cut a steel mold, that ribbon that comes off, that is sharper than any goddamn scalpel I can imagine.
Oh yeah, it's so fine. You're taking such a minute bit of metal off there.
Have you ever cut yourself on that shit? It hurts.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, time for an industrial first aid story.
All right. Did you lose something? A digit?
No. Nope. I've actually seen a guy who had a scar on his arm, and it looked like stitching back and forth. What happened was he was working on a lathe, and the material came off in a spiral, like it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. It caught his arm, and then went around and around.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Unraveled.
So they had to take side cutters, or what some people call dikes, and cut the metal and pull each one out like a ring. And when he went to the hospital, that's how they stitched him up. So he's got this zipper scar on his arm now because of how the metal went in.
Well, I'd make that a tattoo. Story. I'd make that some kind of cool tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you call them dikes anymore. Is that politically correct or not? I always call them
because it's for diag. Okay, dikes.
I used to call diagonal cutters. Diagonal cutters, sure.
Just like we can talk about trannies because that's a transmission.
So RC, can you explain 8-tracks to me? I had 8-tracks. Yeah, 8-track was just a single loop at a little round thing in the middle and just
the little tab.
Yeah. I had Black Sabbath on and see what else I had.
Okay, Steve,
House of the Holy.
To age yourself.
Yeah. If you were on the second song of track 1, and then you just went, I don't like this one, you hit the program button, you'd be partway through track 2 because the heads just popped down.
Yeah,
did you have to use the matchbook cover?
Well, the head pops down, and then when you wanted to reverse it, that's how you play the other thing.
No, I don't think it played in reverse.
Wait, it did reverse. Yeah,
the cartridge only turned in one direction.
Yeah, they only turned in one direction. That's right. Yeah, I had a 4-tracker. That was a little bit different. I had a Muntz 4-tracker that I just took apart.
Yeah, they were 2-directional. Pseudo, I was going to ask you, have you ever blown a tranny?
You can admit it, man. We don't judge.
It's great. It's good times. Good times with words.
Did you ever have to on the 8-track, Steve? Did you ever have to put the little matchbook, like it would warble, but if you could sort of lift the back end of the cartridge up a little bit, it didn't warble. So you'd take a matchbook and just sort of wedge it underneath.
Like Nintendo games.
I just move it around. But
no, Tony. Nintendo games was you blow in them.
I do remember the penny technique for the cartridges for the record players, for the counterbalance.
Yeah. You know, my favorite thing was, and everybody who used audio tape, there was always a trick. So at some point, the tape would come just spinning out. You just have this big loop, 7 feet of magnetic tape that would come out the face of the thing. Mm-hmm. So in the case of a cassette, the Type A cassette, Type A audio cassette, when you got that big loop that came out, you just stick a Bic pen, a nice 4-sided Bic pen, into the teeth of one of the feed wheels, and then you go, and you spin it around and get sucked up. Does anybody remember how to get there's no holes in a cartridge, an 8-track cartridge player? there's no holes in the cartridge itself. So do you know how to feed the tape back in?
I don't remember.
Eraser.
It was what?
Like, was it like? No, go for it. I was saying eraser, like this big eraser, so you cut it.
Oh yeah, for the cassettes. Yeah, for cassettes you could do that. But for the 8-track cartridge, so you hold the cartridge in one hand, sort of up in the air, with the open face pointed down. So this loop of tape is just hanging down to your feet. And then you pinch one side of it with your fingers, and then you pull down really briskly. So you're actually jerking out about another 4 feet of tape. And it would come out, and all of a sudden go zhook, and it would just suck right back in because it would impart momentum on the wheel inside. It would act like a flywheel, and more tape would come out. But then as it was spinning, it would actually suck all the tape back in. It was the weirdest thing to see, and everybody at some point you were like, "Oh, what's wrong with my thing?" And you'd pull it out, and it's like, "Oh, I got all this tape stuck in there." Well, you'd pull it out and step out of your truck, and it would just suck right back up in there.
How about recording? How about re-recording over a cassette?
Yeah. Okay. Cassette or cartridge.
Oh, wait a minute. Recording on video. Tony? Recording on a cassette tape?
Yeah, cassette tape. That little tab you pull off.
Recording on an 8-track.
Yeah.
Is magic.
Well, the cassette. Yeah, the cassette. Most people knew.
That.
Yeah, if you pulled the tab, so if you recorded something and you wanted to keep it, you'd break the tab off. But if you had one like an old, it was like, why did I buy Corey Hart Boy in the Box? This album sucks. I'm going to record over this thing.
How about video cassette? How about video cassette players?
Same thing. You put a little tab over the right protect.
That plastic piece. Yeah,
oh, I remember that. Yeah, you put a tape over the right protect.
Yeah.
By the way, I put. If you guys want to see, I put one of my dad's patents in the live feed from 1977. But this was I still have one of these cassette retrieval systems too. But yeah, so just to show you that, yeah, my dad was a smart guy. Before he passed, I mean, he lost a lot of his intellect, and it was really hard because I could see him really diminishing. Matter of fact, I would ask him very simple questions, like what is 2 + 4? He didn't know. And to watch somebody diminish their capacity that way is it's hard, because my dad was a very, very brilliant architect, inventor. He wasn't good at math to begin with, but I mean, that was basic math.
That's stuff he had.
Yeah, but he could draw. I mean, his technical drawings were he was one of the tops of his class.
Well, sorry, to go back to Pseudonym's question, I'm entranced by the idea of how did you record over the 8-track cartridges? Did you have a way of doing it?
No. The magic comes in the fact is, because the 8-track is a continuous loop, if you weren't watching what you did, you would record the last song over the beginning of the
first one. Yeah, it was pretty easy.
So you really had to know how long the tape is, how many minutes it can hold, and then how to space out your recording in order to get a loop.
Yeah, you had to know your tape length, and you had to, before you recorded one, you had to make sure that you wrote out your let's say track, meaning the songs, your track length for the songs, and you knew what the actual tape length was and what speed you're recording, so that you could actually get them to fit on the thing. But the thing is, this also presupposes that you had a device that was able to do it. And this is weird because so many people who grew up with magnetic media know that there's heads in there, and the heads are read-write heads. They can erase the tape, they can write new information on it. But the original players for the 8-track cartridges had only read heads. You couldn't record to them. But you could buy some special ones that you could record onto. And my grandparents had one that was their full stereo unit, and it had an 8-track player and a microphone plug-in and a record player, right? So we actually would then take LP records and put them onto 8-tracks. And I had a friend, I think it was my second or third year university, they did the thing that a lot of guys do. They buy this old boat of a car for $400 or something, and put some tape over the muffler, and there you go, we can drive around. But the only thing he had in there was an 8-track player. So what he's playing, like Bobby Bear, 8-track cartridges, and they had some Elvis things and stuff. There's all junk. So he thought it was pretty cool, because what we ended up doing was going to my grandparents' place with CD player and plugging it into the aux-in ports and copying CDs. Like Tragically Hip was very popular at the time. So we made Tragically Hip 8-track cartridges. And he had a drain board, a drying rack, from your kitchen. He had a drain board rack in between, like right beside the driver's seat. And he just kept all these 8-track cartridges there. And he'd be driving along, and he'd shove in, REM or whatever was cool at the time, and crank up the old stereo with his freaking 8-track.
I've even seen a 8-track to cassette converter. So in your car, this unit would plug into your 8-track.
This is awesome. I love this.
And then you would open it up and put your cassette in there, and then play the cassette.
Yeah. You push the cassette into a dummy cartridge.
6 inches from the dash.
Yeah.
You could play a cassette in your 8-track.
Yep. That was a big deal. Well, I had one that was the next bridger, and that was a dummy cassette that didn't have any tape in it, but instead the heads were a digital to analog converter, and you would put in a CD.
Yes, the CDs. I was going to say that.
And then the CD would play through this dummy cassette, so you could play it through your cassette player. I think those were pretty common through the 90s.
Yeah, that was
just for reference.
I remember Quadrophonics. Do you remember Quadrophonics, Sam?
Yes. And you know what? That's funny because that's actually why, when I was using an example of why did I get this, I had a copy of Corey Hart, Boy in the Box, the full album on Quad XDR. And it was awesome. I had Sly Fox on Quad XDR, and we had a quad player. I mean, of course, most quad players in your car or your truck, it just comes through a stereo. But if you had, like, if you remember, there's one song that was really popular by Sly Fox, and he used to go like zinny ninny, that fucking thing. But it would like bounce around all 4 speakers. And I was like 16 or 17, and it was the most awesome thing ever.
Yeah, quad was the shit, man. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, I sold a lot of that high fidelity stuff. I mean, that's ironically, that's another thing my dad did too. He actually used to sell high-end high fidelity stuff, Macintosh units, and Muntz and Kenwood. Sony.
Kenwood had good stuff.
Kenwood.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot of things, but since it was always in the audio thing, I mean, because he obviously developed the things for the audio retrieval systems. He was also in high fidelity, and when you would listen, I had this tube amplifier. It was a 50-watt per channel tube amplifier, and we had a really nice receiver, and I mean the sound on it, you can't imagine. It's just crystal clear. Yeah, I mean that's good fidelity. People say these amplifiers they have now are good, but no, there's nothing like a really good tube.
Oh my God, it's another one. When I lived in the eastern part of Canada for a while, sort of for the bulk of when I was actually doing science, I met one guy there who was like Mr. Tube Amplifier. He was just like, and at that time I was just starting to get serious about like good quality MP3 players, and he would just turn up his nose like, 44,000 hertz. Oh, come over to my house. He'd go to the house and he'd like
show you what a high-end system's like. Yeah.
And the thing is, you couldn't just come into the room and be like, here, I'll play a song for you, right? Let me put on this LP record onto the thing, right? It's got to blow the little fuzz off the needle and play an LP record. You had to sit in the chair. There was a specific chair that the speakers were positioned into.
Well, yeah, you're acoustically, you had to do it for the room size. You had to like find out that special spot.
And there was a sweet spot that you had to sit in, and he would like set up these demos, and there was never just one song you could listen to. He's like, I have something from Dave Brubeck Band here. It's a totally different effect. Blow the thing and crank up his tube amp. And
I had a friend that had like jet airplane demos or whatever it's called. They had jet airplanes, so you'd sit down there and you'd hear the jet coming from far away, and then it'd get closer and go over your head and.
Like that commercial for, I think it was Sony, that they like the whole Flight of the Valkyries playing. Dun, 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 dun,
was that JBL? That was, you're right. That was Sony. Yeah. He has the glasses on and everything's.
Why is we're all not deaf at our old age? I used to play loud music a lot.
Me too. When I first found Metallica, I played that like a lot.
Oh shit, dude! 1987, first time I heard Metallica, I was like, "What the hell is this? I love it!" And then I joined the Navy. And even after boot camp, I was just like, ride the lightning, man. Yes.
I don't even, man. Fade to
I was
black.
big into Ozzy, though. Ozzy prior to that, in my 86 and 85, Ozzy was my shit, man. Couldn't get enough Ozzy and Black Sabbath. Yeah. I actually had written, in like, how Ozzy he'd written like Theban language, which is the witchcraft language. And it says like Ozzy Osbourne and Theban on the Diver Madman, and there's like runes around Blizzard. It was not Blizzard of Oz, but what's one that had runes around him? One of his albums. But yeah, I had all that shit on my covers of my books. You know how you have the
Trapper Keepers.
Draw it on,
yeah.
The Trapper
So I would have like Trapper Keepers, whatever, just like plain paper thing, you know, brown paper bag. But I'd have drawn on there this pentagrams with Theban, with Ozzy on it, and witchcraft, and it was like, oh, Steve's a Satanist. I'm like, no, I just like Ozzy.
But this is how your tastes change over the years too, because if somebody said to you, Steve, like,
I still love that shit.
No, I'm saying, no, honestly, Steve, if this would not have been the topic of conversation, if somebody new had just entered the room and we were still talking about lunar recession and that sort of thing, and then somebody had said to you, like, isn't Ozzy awesome? You'd be like, yeah, he totally kicked ass on the place the other night. Did you hear it?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Good point. Fair enough. Yeah. He did kick ass on the place the other night, by the way. Did you watch that?
He did. I listened to it on the drive back today. Yeah, I listened to it on the drive back today.
Yeah, I talked to him a little about that. Yeah, he was flattered. I mean, he was just like, wow, you guys. He's like, everybody loved like that. I'm like, dude, you were stellar.
He's a little, as I am, a little sensitive about the long-winded thing. Like when you ask him a question, if it's an issue he's thought through already, he knows the 7 steps to making sure that you're up to speed with the way he's thinking about it, and not to insult or offend your position. But I'm going to explain mine and include the nuances and limitations to the strength of assertion I'm making here. And then he starts talking and then doesn't realize, well, that's an 11-minute explanation. Yeah. And then he feels bad afterwards that he's talked for that long. I mean, he and DPR and I used to have like a little group therapy session, you know, the Long Talkers Anonymous, you know.
But people listen. But people listen. There's certain people that talk long. For example, you, Jade, Ozzy are long talkers. But there's other people like Sty, who I didn't learn to hang out earlier. I can't stand him long talking, and that's one of the reasons I didn't really want him in here today. Is I can never talk over him. I can never get a word in edgewise. Nobody else can either, and it's just it just makes no sense to me half the time. And I didn't feel like dealing with that today. So
he sometimes talks for the sake of talking and disagrees for the sake of disagreeing. Yes. Yeah. Whereas you've been in hangouts with me where I'll be muted for 40 minutes, and I might once in a while unmute to say that's a really good point, and then I'll remute because if I don't have something to add, then I don't really feel compelled to talk for a long time and then feel guilty for talking for a long time. But I do like what Ozzy brought forward, and there's a certain. I mean, I've expressed lately I've been frustrated with the conversation, and I sort of feel like we do sometimes just get into the sword play, and we're not even really interested in finding out, like other people's positions or, being respectful to people. This has been a concern I've been voicing since I think last July or something. And then of course, people might remember a couple of weeks ago, I sort of launched into this thing again, and then it just turned ugly again. And I am very frustrated by it. Then you see somebody like Ozzy and you see he's kind of risen above it. We don't discuss whether or not it's a good idea or a bad idea for Ozzy to go into a true empiricism hangout, because he just goes, why would I do that? I want to talk to people who are interested in this, and even better, somebody who's actually so interested in it, they can actually raise my level of understanding, give me something to turn. Why would I ever go into a true empiricism hangout? And just the only reason I'm mentioning this is one point he said I want to touch on, and that was he uses the term about being allergic to the term faith. There's no reason to fear the term, right? It's just, let's be clear on what we mean when we say we have faith, but don't be allergic to it. Don't run screaming when somebody says, well, do you have faith in any position? Don't cover your ears and just start shouting and go, no, I don't have faith.
I said that, and I said the word design too. Let's not run from the word design too. But I've had people argue with me, oh, we shouldn't use the word design because that plays into the intelligent design advocates. I'm like, no, it doesn't. We need to take these stuff back and use it correctly, and there's no problem with that. I don't mind using words like faith.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too, because one of the things too, it's a more honest way to engage. And actually, I'm glad, Steve, you brought up the example of intelligent design, and people don't want to use the word design because somehow, and think of this tremendous success of Ray Comfort, because Ray Comfort said something and we believed him. That's alarming. The thing that he said was, well, if there's a design, there must be a designer. And that's not true. And that's to say, if you interpret the word designer to mean a conscious, self-aware agent that has a goal. I want to build a birdhouse and I want it to look this size. I want to make sure it has a hole that's this big and a way that I can lift the lid off and clean it.
But it's true in a way. I mean, I don't have a problem with what he said because nature is the designer. Now, again, you have to qualify it. So do I believe that things that are designed have a designer? Yes. But in this particular case, as you said, nature's not a conscious designer, but it can be a designer.
Oh, well, you're kicking the can to a different place than where I was going with it. I think if I'm going to use the word designer to mean a conscious, like a person that you would label, like a conscious entity you would label a designer, you're saying that a designer can be a force or just the reality of the circumstances.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a concept. Okay, that's fine.
Right,
yeah,
that's the whole concept of teleonomics, right? That nature is the designer, right? Without it gives the appearance of a teleological design, but it's not required because it explains things naturalistically. So when they say, how are things designed? Well, nature has designed it by a process of things like natural selection.
Yeah. Well, then we're agreed at least on the word design, that it ought not to be used to mean intentional design by a conscious, self-aware being.
Yes.
Because there's if you take a piece of ground that's generally flat but sort of generally sloped to one direction out to an ocean, and then you have a source of water that comes in, to different places, it's going to form little creeks that are going to merge together, and they're not going to be straight lines. They're going to because of the topography, they're going to follow sort of a meandering path down, or not meandering, but it'll be all curvy, and then over time these meanders will build in. There's an inherent design to where your streams and rivers are eventually going to flow once they carve their way into the ground, and that's actually fairly predictable by just looking at the topography of it. So it'd be fair to say, well, that's designed, right? There's no bad design in rivers. You don't have a river that goes downhill for a bit and then all of a sudden it goes uphill for 100 feet, and then people are looking at it going, "Who designed this river? This doesn't make sense." Like, there's just no examples of that. That's not how rivers work. So rivers always work appropriate to function. Function appropriate to purpose. So there's no such thing as a badly designed river. So there's such thing as design, there's such thing as purpose, function, and nobody should object to that. Now, what's the designer? In this case, the designer is a set of forces that are inherent to reality.
Sure.
Now, if you want to say that beyond those, that's something that we should agree on. Because what they hear, the nutters, they hear when I say, well, it's the nature of reality that is the designer of things like rivers or biological evolution or the shapes of planets. Sorry, no battery warning here. They hear me say, well, when I talk about it's reality that's the designer, what they hear is, oh, so you're saying there's no God. I said, no, in your view, God is a component, a feature of reality. So I'm just saying it's not totally random. There's something about reality that makes this design come to be. If you believe that as well, if you want to add on to that, to say that the reason those rules in reality exist is because there's a God who created those rules, then great. That's your, you go ahead and you decide whether that's something to justify. Yeah.
Well, I've said that something similar to that before. And then I get jumped on being told, well, that's God of the gaps and crap.
No,
I have been though.
Oh, no, but that's not God of the gaps. That's not.
Or other fallacies and crap.
Just when you listen to Darwin's deity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not. No, and I agree with Hogtie. I think that's perfectly acceptable. And if people want to put that, faith, and I don't you mind using the word faith here, to be that God is that end, that beginning of all designer kind of thing, whatever. It's when they make a very bad argument for that. That's when I'm like, okay, that's where we need to put the kibosh on it, because we do understand nature can do an awful lot. There's no reason to posit anything higher. That doesn't preclude anything higher. When people say things like, oh, well, if you accept evolution, you're negating the existence of God, that's just complete and utter bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. It doesn't negate the existence of God. It has no effect on it one way or another if God exists. It just shows that we can explain it without invoking a deity. That's all. Mm-hmm. But somebody in the live feed just said, Steve's channel always has great conversation. You know what? I think we do, actually. I think every time we have a hangout, we talk about similar things, but there's always something mostly interesting going on, and I like
that's what I was going to say too. Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Like this has helped me with my
20 minutes talking about the history of audio tape.
That's fun. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? It's even our most dullest conversations, it's still 10,000 more times more interesting than you find listening to True.
How many people are watching right now? I'm not
45.
I can't even see. Oh my God, 45 people are listening to this.
What's 50? What's 50 plus? And that's really weird for this time of night. I mean, it's 11 o'clock my time, so that's really odd. Usually I get about 23 this time of night. Yeah, I know my demographics.
Oh, it's 2 o'clock here. Oh crap.
So, but anyways, I am gonna be bringing it to a close. I think we had a really good hangout, and I think that I really want to thank Skyler for popping by, and me and him really pointing out again just how dishonest Ronnie really is, and the fact that I am psychic. I do think that you guys should nominate me for the James Randi Award, for the $1 million. I did call it. I really did. I think he's going to make a hangout on that. Well, no, he's going to make a video on that tomorrow. But if you guys haven't seen these new videos out today, go watch them. Again, I put the link out for Fiona's newest video, well worth watching, because it demonstrates that Ronnie does delete comments. And I'm not saying that we know. I deleted a comment today, matter of fact, just FYI. But I delete people that I know for a fact are actually trolling, or like Quantum Eraser put 12 different. He put the same comment on 12 of my videos. That's not allowed. Don't do just like that. That's spam. So I don't allow spam, and I will delete that. But other than, he deleted Fiona's comment when Fiona really called him out, right? So no, I don't delete that. But if somebody, I'll give many people opportunities. I'll be like, look at it. You're just here trolling. Answer the question. Let's talk about this. And they just continue to troll, then I will ban them. So it does happen, but I give them plenty of opportunities. But if you haven't seen that video, watch that. Reds actually has a video out too. Reds finally acknowledged that Ronnie did deserve the dumb fuck of the year. Thank you, Reg. He did well. I mean, dude, think about it, Tony. Do you know how much dumber you have to be than a flat earther to that's just to rephrase this. Do you know how dumb you have to be to be dumber than a flat earther?
Yeah, that's
something.
That's a new word.
You know what? We need to coin a word for that.
Yeah, Stabumber. I don't know, man.
I'll think of something. Somebody who's dumber than a flat earther. A dumber.
Yeah, something bad. Oh, I just wanted to say one thing before we leave.
Go ahead.
I wanted to apologize for the comment I made earlier about Ronnie.
Oh, no worries.
I just want to make. I just wanted. I take that back. I didn't know the situation. I just wanted.
Tony, it's fine.
All right.
It's fine that people make comments when we course correct and we explain why. It actually is a good learning thing. So don't feel bad.
All right, cool. I just try and catch myself.
You're a piece of shit.
I know, right? I already knew that, though. I already knew that shit.
And RSC pointed out he likes Rush. Rush is my all-time favorite group. I will say that on record. I love Rush. I prefer their older stuff. The newer stuff, not so much. But yeah, the older stuff for Rush, especially like Moving Pictures and Grace Under Pressure and Hemispheres and Signals. I like Roll the Bones. I like Presto. I mean, just they are the definitive three-man band. And unfortunately, they were from Canada, but whatever.
They're awesome. By the way, I did put
awesome.
Rush
awesome.
Rush 2112. I also copied onto 8-track.
Oh, that's awesome. One of my favorite albums. I Rush 2112 defined my existence. If I had to say one album that changed the course of my life, it was Rush 2112.
Really, mine was. Yeah. I don't know.
It had a profound impact on me. It really did.
Yeah, I'd say Out of the Wall. I was doing a lot of mushrooms then, though, but Pink Floyd, The Wall, and The Doors.
I listened to them. I mean, I know The Doors, I know Pink Floyd, but I wasn't really a huge fan. I mean, I liked the stuff. Don't get me wrong. I also, liked.
I did a lot of
Status Quo and other groups that are very similar in that genre.
You got to do a lot of hallucinogenics to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's why I'm so slow nowadays. No.
But I would have been this or close. So Hogtie, thanks for joining us. Tony, thank you. Pseudo and Andreas, thank you guys. I think today is Friday, is it not? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I never know if I'm going to do hang out in that day. I know Andreas asks me every day. I never know. I'm only going to do a minimum of 3, but I might do more. Obviously, I'm glad we had one today because this just really went really well. And I think that if anybody watches this hang out at the beginning, they can definitely see that Ronnie just lied his ass off once again. So anybody got any last words before I take off for your air? And real quick, Tony, Hooper, Jade, Annabelle, RSC, all you guys in the live feed, thank you for watching. But anybody want to say something before I end?
Bye.
Bye.